WTF. What the funnel cake.
The Great Food Truck Race. See it on Food Network.
This is Rogers TV.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university. So, they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then, they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by Smart Serve Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Municipal election 2025 here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm Brian Mosier.
And I'm Hannah DeYoung.
And what an exciting day. Polls closed 30 minutes ago. Results should be coming in shortly. This is a province-wide show. We will be going to all areas of the province. We will be looking at results from everywhere using two of our satellite offices as well. Cornerbrook and in the surrounding area.
Yeah. So we're here in Gander in the council chambers to bring you the perspective from this area, and we'll be rotating between different parts of the province to bring you as much insight as we can from this exciting municipal election night.
Of course, a lot of excitement around this one. We're looking at some of the slates of candidates, and some of them are quite full. A lot of interest, a lot of, especially for the council positions. And then, of course, you know, we have some small communities with an awful lot of people running, you know, to say the least. A place that we were talking to the mayor the other night, a place like Dover, not far from here, a community of 600 plus people, they have 14 people running for 6 council seats. So.
Yeah, and I think this year, obviously, some challenges for the municipal elections across the province. We had simultaneously a provincial election called around the same time, which pulls attention and also pulls candidates that might have run in the municipal election then are running provincially. So, and then on top of that, we had a last-minute postal strike.
Yes, and of course that brings into play the whole thing in St. John's, where ballots were either going to the mail, coming from the mail, or in the post office itself. Their election, the only municipality in Newfoundland and Labrador right now, their election will happen next week in 8 days' time.
Yeah, so across the province there were 8 municipalities that did have mail-in ballots, but St. John's was the only one that chose to delay.
But sheer numbers would dictate that would need to happen.
Yeah.
But you know, there's going to be some changes here tonight, and there's going to be some new slates on the whole municipal government sort of thing, and it's going to be interesting to watch.
Personally, I love municipal politics. I love that there's no parties. It's really about the issues facing the municipalities. A lot of them, you know, are the same across the province, but there's clearly some unique ones depending on where as well. But I think based on who, you know, the vibe, like talking to some of the candidates, talking to some of the incumbents, there's a lot of positivity in municipality, you know, in these elections that you don't see at the, you know, federal and international levels.
And of course, we were both talking earlier today when we both voted. A lot of activity at the polling station.
Yeah, it was busy. I went at lunchtime.
I went at supper time.
Yeah, and it was packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have to wait long, but it was busy. So hopefully that means good voter turnout.
Which sometimes in municipal elections you don't tend to get, and you know, but there is a tremendous interest here. We were at the Fraser Road United Church Hall, and quite literally the parking lot was full. I was there maybe just before 5:30, and a lot of people coming and going.
Yeah, generally municipal elections have lower voter turnout, I think, than other levels of government. But I think that also depends on the municipality. You know, these roles, depending on who's running and the issues facing these, you know, communities, you can get higher turnout. So we'll see what happens this year. And we'll see. It'd be interesting to see too what happens with the provincial election if we get lower turnout of one versus the other, where the municipality one is first. Will that mean lower turnout for the provincial, or is our voters saturated? I guess we'll find out tonight.
Of course, join us again 12 days from now. We'll be back again doing the provincial results show. Similar format to tonight, where we'll cover the entire province and into Labrador to see what the political landscape is going to shake up to be. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. So as you can see on the screen, tonight we're going to start getting results in. Polls have only been closed for 30 minutes, so it's going to take a little bit of time to start seeing results come in. But as you can see, we will show them, as numbers start to come in on the screen. And we won't get to every municipality in the province, but we have a good sample of what we could get access to.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of places voting tonight. It's very, very small communities, all the way up to some of the larger cities, like Mount Pearl. It was going to be St. John's, but the everything outside of St. John's will be voting tonight, and the municipal governance will shape itself up. Of course, the weather cooperated today as well. Beautiful sunny day, people out, people voting. And a lot of signs of people taking an interest in this particular election.
Yeah, so the show tonight, we're hoping to obviously bring you the results from different parts of the province. We're also going to check in with some, experts from different perspectives, different stakeholders that have an invested interest in municipal results. So we'll get a kind of full picture of why these elections matter, and hopefully learn something along the way.
And of course, this show is going out over the Rogers TV network province-wide. If anybody is looking for a way, maybe not a Rogers subscriber, as to how they access this show, simply rogerstv.com/Gander, and there will be a link there for the live feed. So you have no reason not to be able to get the information you need. I suspect that in the next 15 minutes or so, this is going to be just a barrage of numbers that's going to come across the screen, and we'll have really sore throats by the end of the evening.
But before we go any further, we're going to kick it over to Cornerbrook. So we have Dustin Parsons ready to go to introduce what's going on over in Cornerbrook today. So let's pass it over there. So we have Dustin Parsons ready to go to introduce what's going on over in Cornerbrook today. So let's pass it over there. So we have Dustin
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are we there?
What's going on over in Cornerbrook today?
Guys, it's Dustin from Rogers TV in Cornerbrook. We're going to be delivering you the results from 3 communities here in our area, Cornerbrook, Pasadena, and Deer Lake. It's going to be a very exciting night. And joining me here in the studio is going to be Jenny Brake, Chief of the Hollywood First Nation, and we're going to be talking about the relationship between the band and municipalities and lots of other great topics. So stay tuned. But right now, we're going to throw it back to Gander.
And of course, that was Dustin Parsons in our Cornerbrook studio. We will be covering, as we said, all sectors of the province to get the results from as many municipalities as we can, at least most of the bigger ones as well. Joining us right now in our St. John's studio, Lori Lydia Lovelace on the set of Out of the Fog is here to join us, and she'll be bringing us all sorts of things from the Avalon. Let's tune in now and see what she has to tell us about what's happening in there tonight. She'll be bringing us all sorts of things from the Avalon. Let's tune in now and see.
Hi, Brian and Hannah. Welcome to the municipal election results here in St. John's, Newfoundland. And of course, I am Lori Lydia Lovelace, and I am accompanied tonight by Rob Nolan and Alexis Foster from Municipalities NL. It's going to be a great show. We're going to throw it back to Gander.
So there you go. So we're going to cover all sectors of the province as soon as those results start coming in. It's been an amazing campaign. It seemed like only yesterday it started, but we've got a lot of people that have been out pounding the streets, knocking on doors, making a whole lot of work in a very, very short period of time.
So we do want to just mention, we know there's an audio delay when we transition between the studios of about 5 seconds. So if you're like, wait, what's happening? Just give it a few seconds and it will catch up.
We can actually hear ourselves as well when we throw to the, so that, it's all part of
you know what, live
going
TV,
live.
this is what happens, but we're excited to be here, and just be patient with us and give it a few seconds, and it will catch up.
So, we look at a night like this, of course, now all the work is done. You have to sit, you have to wait, and of course the ballot boxes have been open now for 40 minutes, and the numbers are being tallied. Anything goes.
It's nice that you find out on election day, like hopefully it doesn't carry into, weeks later, like what happened in the federal election with some of those ridings. So hopefully the results happen quickly and candidates can find out tonight.
Well, there's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a scattered pair of footwear gone onto the last, 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think you see that more with, I guess, with the smaller, like, municipalities, you have a smaller area than, in a federal election, for example. So they really definitely, you could tell the candidates made an effort to get out, meet voters, go door to door, whether it was just dropping information or talking to people.
And of course, there are a lot of big issues right now coming up in the next 4 years. And let's face it, when you sign on that line, you're looking at a 4-year process.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting, like with municipalities, that role, depending on where you are, can be very different. So if you're in St. John's, you're in Cornerbrook, you're in Gander, as a councillor, that could be a very different role.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. And, we talked to a lot of the candidates, and especially like some of the mayors that were acclaimed over the last 2 or 3 days. And we asked them all a very similar question. Is it tougher to balance a budget? Is it tougher to get things, buy things, build things, do those big projects in today's economy where the dollar doesn't go nearly as far as it did maybe even 2 years ago? And it's a scary thing they tell us.
Yeah, of course. And I think then you have all of that, but also, with social media and the state of politics in the world, it can be a negative space in some areas. And I think that probably deters people from running. But I think what we found this week, talking to people, preparing for this, there was a lot of positivity from the candidates that were running or, were acclaimed. These are people that want to work hard for their communities. They want to make a difference. They want to give voice, to people in their community. And so I think that's kind of what stood out to me this week, was just the positivity.
It's been an interesting week meeting those candidates, meeting the perspective, and meeting the people who have been acclaimed to their office, and seeing what they have on their radars going forward, what they want to do. In a couple of their cases, they were deputy mayors up to now. Now they're the mayor of a town or a community or a city.
Okay, but let's go back to St. John's, to Lori Lydia, and see what's going on there.
And welcome back to St. John's, and of course it's an exciting night in our province, and I want to introduce my guests this evening. So Rob and Alexis, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with the Municipalities NL.
So I'm CEO at Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, and Alexis is our Director of Communications and Advocacy. MNL is the association for the municipalities across the province. So we represent the 274 towns and cities across the province, and we do advocacy on their behalf. Normally that is advocacy to the provincial government on policy issues. And we also support our members through programs, events, meetings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and tonight is a huge night. So, what are you expecting? Or are there any trends that you're seeing this year, difference than prior elections?
It is a big day for us, all of us municipal nerds. It's like municipal Christmas today.
Yes.
And we've been gearing up for this for a while, as you can imagine, with our Make Your Mark campaign that we ran to encourage candidates to come forward and encourage people to get out and vote, volunteer. And what we've seen is where there are contested elections, there's quite a number of candidates that have come forward. I think Buckins has 14 people running for 5 seats, and that's a trend we're seeing across the province. There's a few mayoral races where there's no incumbent mayor, but you have 3 or 4 people running for mayor, and that's really exciting that we're seeing such contested races.
Yeah. And how important is it for people to vote today and to get their word out?
Well, it's incredibly important. Municipal government is the closest to where you live. It's the roads you drive on, it's the water you drink, it's the trails you walk on. So being involved in municipal politics is incredibly important, and we just have to give a shout out to everybody who decided to run, because it is a big thing to take that step and put your name on that ballot. So no matter if they win or not, and you're elected or not, congratulations, that's a phenomenal thing to do, and we hope that these people stay involved in municipal politics because they are so important.
Absolutely. And so are you expecting any surprises this evening, or where do you think things are going to go? It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. Yeah. I think we might see some surprises. I think we might see some races that are closer, now than was anticipated at the beginning of the election. And like I say, some of the ones that we're watching are certainly races where there's 2 or 3 newcomers. Maybe they sat on council, but now they're running for mayor, and you don't have the incumbent mayor. Those towns, Grand Falls, Windsor is another one. There's 14 people that are running for 6 seats.
Wow.
So that's a lot of new people putting their names on the ballot, in addition to some of those incumbent candidates. So it'll be interesting to see, how many new names we end up seeing across the province on councils.
And that's a trend that we're kind of seeing as well. Is we've heard from some of our members that they're actually having elections for the first time in many, many years.
Oh, wow.
So this is very exciting for us to see so many people stepping forward and trying their hand at municipal politics. So really excited to see some of those election results come back. But it is going to be a great night, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, lots of new faces, lots of numbers that we're seeing come through as well. So is this something that's a trend that we've been seeing on the uprise from prior elections, or is that quite stagnant?
We've seen, I wouldn't use the word stagnant, maybe. Stable, I guess I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll be doing the analysis of it into the coming weeks, but what we have seen is over the last few elections, around 30% of our elected seats, or around our council seats, have been acclaimed. And that seems to be the same for this election. So, on one side of the coin, you could look at it as there's about 1/3 of our seats are acclaimed. But I think the more positive way to look at that is that that's remained stable when we know that we have aging and declining population across the province. And looking at those contested races is really where I'm excited about, that we're seeing an upswing of numbers in those contested races of people coming forward.
Yeah, and seeing some of the people that are actually putting their names forward this year is quite exciting, because we do have a great range. We do have, our demographic is quite older in Newfoundland and Labrador, but we have been seeing some youth putting their names forward. And we have still been seeing some people, I have a friend who posted that her grandmother was running for the first time, and she's 85 years old. So this is phenomenal. This is great stories to hear, that people are seeing that they might have the skills from their lives that are really transferable to municipal office.
And how do you think the voting is going to turn this year? Do you think we'll be seeing more people voting in comparison to prior years, or what's your thoughts on that?
Voter turnout normally hovers around 40-45% for the last few elections. We're hoping that voter turnout is higher. We heard out of Gander that they were getting swarmed at their town hall where the voting was. So hopefully that's a trend across the province. That was part of why we ran the campaign that we did, to encourage just interest in municipal politics. I think that's kind of the double-edged sword also of having the overlapping provincial and municipal elections. On one side, you risk kind of voter fatigue, but on the other, there's a lot more conversations happening around elections, around policy issues, and all of that. So I think people are hopefully excited to get out and vote, and they're seeing the need to vote in local government.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to see all the results come in, just to see, because a lot of places that we see, I feel like it's going to be a tight race, and just excitement to see for the candidates that are running and things. going that way as well. Like for us, we are in Paradise, seeing, CBS and surrounding areas. So is there any, challenges that you think that might come up through the election, or anything that we could probably expect?
Oh, that is a good question for us. Yeah, no,
Hopefully no challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, the mail-in ballots have come up and were brought up by your colleagues.
Yes.
But it's, St. John's has postponed their election, so there's only 7 municipalities that had mail-in ballots that are going ahead with it tonight. And those, you had to opt into mail-in ballots for the most part. So there were very small numbers of ballots that weren't received back by the time that the labor disruption happened. So it's not as much of an issue as it is for St. John's in other municipalities across the province.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, my next question is, do you think that the strike would impact, this year's election throughout the province? And, seeing that we are moving the St. John's to next week, what do you think that might have any other impact as well?
I think the towns and the 2 cities that are using vote by mail, in talking to them, they have it under control. I reached out to all of those municipalities last Friday when we knew that there would be the disruption, and their returning officers were quite confident that they had everything under control. I heard from one town that they knew they only had 80 ballots that hadn't been received, so they were actually just calling those individuals to make a way for them to vote. So it's under control. Yeah, it's a much bigger conversation for St. John's, since it's automatic vote by mail, and you have thousands of ballots out there and thousands of voters. But for all the rest of the towns, you're talking about each town maybe under 100. That's manageable over the last week. Yeah.
And so I'm very excited, like you said, for those that are, nerds about it. That is something that we're all excited to see, and, checking in with the results and everything else. So we're going to move it over to Gander shortly to talk to Brian and Hannah. So we'll move it back to you.
And there we have it. It's such a cool conversation when you think about something, as formal and as regimented as an election, all the things that can impact it, and things that will come up at the last minute, and the fires that you have to put out. Also, looking at the size of some of the towns where you're having an election, all the way from 80 ballots in a town to something the size of St. John's, where, we don't know how many 100 ballots, 1,000 ballots are stuck in the mail somewhere. And of course, you've got this whole situation unfolding within itself.
Really interesting perspective from Rob and Alexis there on just kind of understanding the different challenges for some of these communities, but also loved their excitement around municipal politics, because I think we're feeling that too here in Gander. We're excited.
I really do, yeah. And we've been talking about this for a long, long time, that, the election is X number of weeks, X number of months away, and the anticipation over trying to predict who you figure was going to run, some of the sure bets that you had didn't happen, some of the, and then you start trying to figure out who you figure got the best chance of winning and placing, and who it's going to come down between. It's always neat. It's going to be neat when those first couple of polls start coming in to see the races shaping
right now, but shouldn't be too long. We'll start to see some numbers. But before that, we're going to go over to Cornerbrook. We're going to go back to Dustin, who has a special guest with him. So another kind of perspective around politics and municipalities. So we're going to throw it over to Dustin Parsons, who has Jenny Brake from the Halibu Nation to talk to. So let's throw it over to Dustin.
On this, okay. Well, as promised, we are back now in studio. We don't have any results to share with you yet for Pasadena, Cornerbrook, and Deer Lake, but we'll be definitely coming back with those shortly. But I do have Jenny Brake here. Jenny, thanks for coming down with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
It's a big night, of course. There's a lot at stake, and we're going to pick some new councils. And of course, you've got a council of your own on the go now.
Yeah, our council's almost 1 year in, our new council.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really getting to know each other now and getting down into the weeds of things. And it was only almost a year ago last year when we were all biting our nails and knocking on doors and hoping for the best. And I couldn't be more happy with the council that our community selected. We've really got a great council this time around.
And just catching up a little bit before we went on air, like you guys have covered so much ground in the last year, so much has happened, and of course, you know, all these announcements and federal things and our federal election, and I mean, that must have been so much work for you guys.
It's been a whirlwind, yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of moving parts, I think, in every element of government over the last year, and ours included, and it's been it's an exciting time. It's a lot of change, but I think change is really good. It's an opportunity to settle in and look at things in a new light. So, yeah, we can't wait till we meet all the new candidates once they get settled away.
Because I know one of the first things that you did actually when you became chief is kind of go on a bit of a tour and try to hit as many municipalities in Newfoundland as possible. You know, some people might think that the Hollyboo representatives are all only here or members are mostly here, but as you were saying, it's really all across Newfoundland.
Spread out, yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, I spoke to folks from First Light today because we have members in St. John's as well. So for me, once I started, I talked to our council and said, we really need to get out and get to know our municipalities because it felt like something we were missing. So we have 9 wards across southwest coast right out to central. And within those 9 wards are 67 communities.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of ground to cover. So I haven't been to every municipality or local service district. It's going to take a while, but I've been to some of the bigger centers and we've had a lot of success. You know, the municipalities are excited about what it means to be identified as an Indigenous community because it increases their capacity. It, you know, it gives them a real, honest, true partner to do some meaningful work with, to dig into the history of the regions, to tell stories when it comes to tourism, or to work on development when it comes to housing or programming. There's a lot of opportunity for growth.
Well, I think you, I was about to ask you a question in my head. You just answered it, and the question would be, what is the relationship between the band and the municipalities, and like what's at stake? And I guess, you know, it looks like even though you've got a chance to go around to these municipalities, in our municipalities, there's going to be some big change, right? Some of these councils are going to have over half new members.
I know. And
so,
we did this time around too.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's basically a lot of fresh faces. There's probably going to be a lot of good energy. And from your perspective, what's best case scenario? What does that relationship between any of these municipalities and the band look like?
Well, I think that when we start receiving phone calls and invitations to come to the municipalities and to meet the new councils and sit down together and assess, you know, what are your community members saying? What are our members saying? And a lot of them want a cultural presence in their communities, but they also want, you know, I guess an increase in their infrastructure. I've talked to town councils about their community centers and, you know, wanting to have our voice in that so they can bring in cultural programming that's relevant to their community members that are Mi'kmaq. So that's really exciting. They want language programs, daycares. There's so many different things that we can help with, right down to roads and
basically every problem that towns have.
Everything. I mean, monitoring environmental issues, industry development that's happening in communities. We have relationships with the federal government, so we can help them out with those sorts of making the connections between the two. It's really great. Honestly, it's been really nice, but I'm really excited about new leadership and new conversations to reinvigorate all those things.
Very, very exciting. So the Hollyboo is basically an open partner for all kinds of potential developments, and it's really up to the municipalities, from the sounds of it, to be like, you know, let's play ball. Let's go. Let's work together on some of these things. Obviously, there's some terms and conditions, but to your point, like, a lot of people, members of self-identified people, members of Hollyboo, like everybody, I think, agrees that recognizing this rich part of our culture is important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we were left of the terms of union in 1949, but that doesn't mean that we have to take that for an answer. We know the difference. So it's a time of reconciliation. That word has been used an awful lot this week. And, you know, oddly enough, I spoke to our community on Tuesday, and I looked up from my papers and I saw an awful lot of candidates in the crowd. Folks I don't often see. So it made me a little uncomfortable, honestly, because it wasn't a place for campaigning. I do commend those that showed up to support the community
Yeah.
Because, but make sure you come again next year.
Right.
And every year, and show
right.
up every day, because we can't just show up during election time. We need to be there every day to support our communities through reconciliation and all the needs that we have. There's a lot that needs to be done to support the Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities, and when we go into communities and work with municipalities, it's not, if we set up a park for children, or it's something that's accessible and helps with children that have autism, we'll say, and we utilize Jordan's principle to help with something like that, or we tap into our language programs to put up poster boards and historic information, walking trails. That's not just for Indigenous people.
Right.
That's for everyone.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity for us all to grow and learn together. So we want to see more of that.
Well said. And I think there's good opportunity for that. And I can't wait to find out who it is that you're going to get to be collaborating with for these next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
But I think right now we've got to throw it back to either Gander or St. John's. But we'll be back with some results in a few minutes, guys.
Sounds good.
And just like that, we're back. And of course, we have some numbers. The first polls are in Gander, looking at some interesting results here on the screen that seem to have disappeared. We also have some results, I think, coming in from Grand Falls, Windsor. And looking at the early polls, I don't know if you can read much to the early polls, but they will eventually come around again here on the screen. But I'm looking at some decent numbers to start.
13,000 people live in Gander?
Yep, 13 and change.
So I think the first, you can see some numbers from Grand Falls there on the bottom. So some numbers coming in, which is exciting. So you can see there it's marked if there's an incumbent, so if they're running again or if they're a new candidate. So some numbers there from Grand Falls, Windsor. So low numbers, but exciting just to see results come in
Well,
at this
you
point.
see the races starting to shape up as they come through. And, I remember covering, because I've been at these things now since the 90s, watching a longtime veteran councillor one year, and he looked at the first polls coming in and basically predicted the outcome.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be doing that tonight.
No.
Based on what we're seeing so far.
But some very strong.
Yeah, some numbers there from Bishop's Falls. Oh, they're acclaimed, I think, mostly in Bishop's.
Yes.
Right. Oh, they're
Bishop
all
Falls is all
acclaimed.
acclaimed,
Okay, well, woohoo for them.
So we're looking through.
And in Gander, the mayor is acclaimed as well. So.
Yes, actually, quite a number of mayors were acclaimed this time around.
Yeah.
And as we found out through our work this week, quite a number of deputy mayors have now have stepped into the mayor's chair. So we'll see a lot of these mayoral names in next week's provincial election.
That's right, yeah.
Including in Cornerbrook, where we have a former mayor and the former mayor actually in a race for the provincial seat.
And so Grand Falls, Windsor, the mayor was acclaimed there
Yes.
as well. So some numbers coming in.
So again, very early, you're seeing one of 24 polls currently there in the race in Grand Falls. And it's still very, very, very early in the race. Not a lot to be read yet,
Yeah, but so polls have been closed for about an hour.
For about an hour.
And there's not huge numbers to come in, so I think over the next hour we'll get a majority of them in and hopefully know where things will land. So what we're seeing now is Gander.
And, looking at, very, very early results, something as simple as going to somebody's neighborhood could change that wholeheartedly. If you get a very populated neighborhood, everybody there votes for you because they like you. It could be a real change in things.
Okay, well, let's go back over to Cornerbrook and Dustin and see if he has some results coming in from the West Coast. So over to Dustin.
Some results now.
What do we got?
We got Deer Lake and Cornerbrook just started coming.
So they're not like Live television is amazing. We've got results starting to come in now.
What's happening?
There's flashes, and we're going to see some numbers here on the screen. Well, I can tell you, Dean Ball, is definitely the mayor of Deer Lake. That has happened because Dean has been acclaimed. Nobody ran against him, but I think we're going to see some councillor numbers coming in, and here we are. All right, I guess they're coming in order. They're moving very fast here, G. But you can see coming up across the bottom, these aren't the final results. These are just being updated by the moment.
Bottom.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I remember this feeling.
Oh, yes. It's okay. Live TV. Live TV. Yeah, because I guess you had to sit and wait for results to come in, right?
Yes, we all gathered in my living room. There was about 50 of us.
Yeah. Well, how does that feel?
Oh, terrifying. And you don't know until the very last second.
Yeah, well, a lot of work goes into these campaigns. We're starting to see some of the councillor numbers coming up here onto the side. So the bottom, okay, Gian, so the bottom are going to be the official. What we see on the bottom of the screen here will be the final numbers. Okay. A lot of councillors in Cornerbrook.
Yeah.
And Cornerbrook's definitely going to have a woman mayor for the next 4 years, which is great.
Yeah.
We've got two very strong and experienced councillors.
I know, it's exciting.
I think we're in good hands there either way.
Nice to see those two come forward.
Yeah, it really is. And then, of course, for council in Cornerbrook, there's Tony Buckle, Sherry Dean, Keith Hobbs, Pam Keeping, Eddie Kennedy, Donna Luther, Chad Parsons, Sarah Parsons, who was the NDP candidate in the last federal election, Michelle Payne, Steve Pritchard, who we've had on the show, very involved in theater.
Yeah.
Tara Shanahan, Jeff Sparks, Tom Stewart, Randy Warren, Don Wheeler.
Yeah, big selection.
Big
Sherry
Tom.
Dean was on our council last term.
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Is there any other people here who were
No.
past council members or anything in the band? Okay.
Just Sherry. Yeah. And I asked her why she didn't run again for this council, and she said she was going to take a break. And then when I saw her signs up for city council, I said, well, you couldn't stay away, could you?
Right. I think this is, let's see, we've got David Parsons, and who was the other one? I guess those ones have been called based on their vote. We can't actually hear you in the back there, Gian, but it's all good. It's all good. Nothing coming in from Pasadena yet. And in Pasadena, we've got Darren Gardner, who's running for re-election as mayor, and then Tom Wheaton. I think Tom might have been mayor in Pasadena in the past. He's certainly been on council. He's like a long-time Pasadena, OG Pasadena type character, right? Mm-hmm. And still waiting for our numbers for Cornerbrook.
I think the councillors are all up at City Hall,
Are
or
they?
all the candidates, I believe so.
I wonder if they're watching this.
Good luck, everyone.
Hopefully. And in Deer Lake, Hines was 780. Smith. Just Linda Smith. And Strangemore, 721 votes. That's Andrew Strangemore. Interesting how the results are coming in Deer Lake, that we're only seeing two councillors' names come forward there so far. But once again, Dean Ball, definitely mayor of Deer Lake.
Well, there you
without
go.
a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
Excellent.
How do you feel about that?
I can't wait to meet him.
That's right. Oh, you've never met?
No, I haven't. So I'm looking forward to his phone call.
Yeah, well, absolutely. First mayor to call Jenny wins.
Absolutely.
We'll say it right here, right now.
Absolutely. We'll hold a place in the calendar.
Yeah. Dean, has been mayor of Deer Lake in the past, and of course his brother Dwight was the premier.
Yes.
So there's definitely a lot of political experience in there. That could be a great thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll definitely end up with some fresh council people in there by the looks of this.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. Now we've got some more rolling in here. And in the back right now, we've got Gian calling out to me through a layer of double pane soundproof glass. I can almost hear what he's saying. Oh, we're getting the light. Okay. So while we wait for some more results to trickle in, we're going to take a break. We're going to throw it back to Gander, and we'll be back soon, hopefully with some updates. Stay tuned.
And of course, the results starting to come in right now.
Slowly.
Still very early in the polls. And this is the part, of course, in election coverage where you wait and you try to predict, but really the numbers are not there yet to make any sort
a lot
of.
of anticipation, hard to make kind of see trends or make predictions like Dustin was, mentioning. There's just not quite enough to work with yet. So, but we're looking at Grand Falls, Windsor, we're looking at Gander, of course, and we're looking at Botwood. So let's kind of check in and see if any more numbers have come in. So some trickles here for Grand Falls, Windsor.
Quite a slate of candidates there as well. And of course, you're talking 2 of 24 polls, so a lot of movement can happen
but
yet.
Similar to what we've seen in Deer Lake, the mayor is acclaimed, so we know that.
That's right.
And same with Gander there, we
That's
see.
right.
And we'll talk to Mayor Farwell probably later.
Of course, here we go. Tara
tonight.
Pollock polling very well. Samantha Abbott, Sheldon Hancock, Pat Woodford, and I think Oz Fudge is in the 6th council seat right now with 150 votes. So we're looking at, of course, this from Botwood, no polls in there yet, just a blank screen. So, but once they start to come, it's like a floodgate opening. They will come in. Of course, the other thing happens on the back end of the election when you get close races, especially for last council spots.
Gets more exciting.
And then it gets a lot more exciting
Yeah.
because, you have to wait for that last result.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting earlier too how Rob Nolan was talking about from Municipalities NL how sometimes we see because with the mayors there's lots of acclaimed.
Yes.
So you could see that kind of from 2 perspectives. One, well, why isn't there competition? Do people not want to run? But the way he framed it was a bit more around stability. Like in municipal politics, that's not negative, right?
That's right.
To see people kind of come back, continue to do this work. Is a positive thing. Of course, nice to see newcomers and younger people as well, but there's not always a straightforward perspective on it.
Of course, I know here in town, a lot of the names we are seeing are new names, first-time entries into politics.
right.
Tara now out ahead with 443 votes, so she is leading, potentially polling towards the deputy mayor's position. But, again, we're talking early numbers, and
Yeah.
a lot can change.
And as we see, Bishop Falls was all acclaimed, so no anticipation there. We know where that one lands.
Yes. But, you have all your council seats filled
Yeah,
in and of itself. That's a huge thing.
absolutely. Yeah, and that means stability. Kind of going back to that point,
Yep.
right? That it's of course nice to see new faces as well, but and in Gander, I think it's a nice balance of
Yeah.
there's a few seats open, but there's also people returning, and the mayor, of course. So a bit of both.
Well, at least here in Gander, we know half of the council will be new because, of course, 3 of the seats are not seeking re-election. 3 are. Those 3 right now are near the top of the pack.
Yeah.
Again, early in the poll numbers, but they are polling quite high in the polls.
Yeah.
But, we know that at least 3 of the faces on council will be new. Percy at the helm will remain as mayor. And I think we may have some numbers coming out of St. John's right now, so.
Well, not St. John's itself, but St. John's.
Well, yeah, the area
Oh, St. John's.
surrounding St.
Yeah,
John's.
That's right.
So let's throw it now to Lori Lydia Lovelace in the Out of the Fog studio.
And we are now back in St. John's and at our studio. So we're here with Rob and Alexis again, and the anticipation is incredible
killing
here.
us.
Yeah, we're having so much fun in all the best ways because seeing all the numbers come in, and even though it's still really early on, it's still really nice to see all the numbers coming through and people are voting. So speaking about that, what types of issues have you seen candidates come up with during this election?
So what we've been hearing from a lot of the candidates as they've been doing their canvassing, there are several issues that seem to pop up. Public safety is being one of them, the main issues that we continue to see. So whether it is ensuring enough funding for our firefighters, which we know after the summer we had is just incredibly important, whether it is cell phone coverage. which it's integral. It is certainly a public safety issue.
100%. It's
Right.
like from where I'm from as
Yeah.
well, you know, that was an issue. If you had a flat tire on the Bay Spear Highway, you were stuck there until someone came there. So that is a major issue and concern for sure.
It definitely is. So at MNL, we like to say it's not a luxury, it's a lifeline. It's something that you need.
Yeah.
So that's something that we've been seeing throughout the municipal election as well as the provincial election. It's been one of the main highlights for us. Other things that we've been hearing are rural services, access to mail, which is highlighted right now with the Canada Post strike. And then banking services, that's another issue that is very close to a lot of our residents' hearts. And we see the impact that that has on their communities when you don't have those services available to you. We're looking at infrastructure, whether it's wastewater or drinking water. These are huge issues for municipalities and residents, especially after, again, the summer that we had, where we had the concerns of running out of water. It's certainly top of mind for many, many people. Lower taxes are always something you want to see. With the cost of living right now, it certainly makes sense. It impacts everyone. So these are some of the key things that we've been hearing, and it underpins some of our provincial advocacy as well.
Yeah, and taxation is an interesting one because that comes up, you know, in all orders of government, in all elections. But for municipalities in particular, they're very limited in the ways that we can generate revenue. Right. So it's property tax, which tends to be, you know, referred to as regressive because it's just based on the value of your property, not what your income is, not what you have in your bank account. And municipalities depend on property tax. They depend on funding from other orders of government and some grants in lieu of tax. So it's very limited what they can do. And right now, you know, it was mentioned by one of your colleagues earlier that cost of everything is going up. Yes. And that's for residents, but that's also for our local governments. So where do they find the additional revenue? And that's where we come into play in our advocacy to the province and to the federal government around how can funds be delivered more equitably to municipalities. We often use the stat of about 60% of public infrastructure is owned by municipalities, or municipalities are responsible for it, and municipalities receive about 8 to 12 cents on every tax dollar. And so the funding mechanisms need to be updated. You know, we're Federation of Canadian Municipalities refers to we have 19th century fiscal financing tools for municipalities, and we have 21st century problems. So another piece of that is the province, provincial government and federal government often have municipalities compete for funding. But that's for funding for critical infrastructure, like Alexis mentioned. You know, should neighboring municipalities have to compete against each other in order to get funding to have clean drinking water, have wastewater systems that allow them to not have raw sewage go into the ocean? And that's a big piece of the conversation that our councillors and mayors have to engage in as well, because they have to speak across orders of government on those issues.
So let's just have a look now at the polls to see what the results are coming in. And like I said, it's still quite early, but we're looking at Conception Bay South now for Ward 4. Wow. Numbers are coming in strong, though, I have to say. Yeah, it's been great to see. So speaking about the results and everything, so we kind of have a frame, I guess, of what is happening in Mount Pearl, of course, and with Dave Aker, of course, and so what can we expect from other neighboring communities, you know, CBS, Paradise, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Mayor Aker has been acclaimed. Mayor Bent in CBS was also acclaimed. Paradise is a really interesting race because Mayor Bobbitt is running for provincial politics now, so you have two councillors who are running for mayor, and you have a good number of candidates running for council. So Paradise will be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, and we're living in Paradise, and just seeing, you know, the new names and new faces that have been running. So like you said, to go with the trend that we are seeing new candidates running, which is amazing, you know, and so it's so good to see that. Are you seeing more of that as well?
We've kind of been hearing a little bit of that, especially after the Make Your Mark campaign this year. This year's campaign focused on youth for council. So it was really encouraging people to take the skills that you have and actually see how they apply to municipal politics. So if you were running a household, it is similar to some of the roles that you would have if you're on council. So we have actually heard from several candidates that they decided to run because of this campaign, because they said, well, I can do this in my work. I can certainly do this as a volunteer thing, and I want to make my community better. So that's been great to see.
Yeah, excellent. So let's just have another look now at the results. Like I said, still quite early on. So let's see.
CVS seems to be rolling out. Well.
Yeah, CVS is rolling out for sure, absolutely. And seeing that too, you know, the town of Portugal Cove has took a different route as well, so.
Yeah, they're another one that the incumbent mayor decided not to run. I think they have 3 candidates for mayor, and they have 14, I believe, candidates for council. So quite a number of candidates and interest in Portugal Cove St. Phillips, which is great to see.
Awesome. So we're going to throw it back to Gander with Brian and Hannah now.
And here we are back again, looking at the results rolling in. From what I'm hearing from the control room, we do have some more results coming in right now. Looking at Grand Falls, Windsor, first of all. And again, just 2 of 24 polls, so too late to make predictions yet.
Yeah, small numbers still. So the anticipation builds, hey.
The anticipation builds indeed. You know, and there are so many issues at the forefront in this election. And, you know, we saw the candidates forum there a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, the issues are big and costly. And when you have big and costly issues, you also have to find the big and costly money to find them. So we have Pollitt, Abbott, Woodford, Hancock, and West, and finalizing out Fudge, getting the final position right now. Again, very early in the polls, but that's the way she's shaping up there. Of course, nothing from Botwood yet.
I suspect Botwood will see, like, when it comes in, it comes in.
The numbers will come
Yeah.
in short order.
Yeah. So we'll keep waiting. You mentioned the Gander Municipal, like the Chamber of Commerce hosted a forum with all the 10 candidates running.
Yes.
Were there common themes that stood out to you of what candidates were focused on?
A lot of them, you know, if you had to narrow them down, of course, you have the whole concept of aging infrastructure, and I guess you want to push this whole thing forward, you know, and here in Gander, we're fairly well off, but, you know, there's still things that need to be replaced, equipment, things, you know, for snow clearing, and the like. Public safety did come up a lot. The need maybe for more policing, you know, longer hours, more officers on the ground here. Of course, 21st century problems enter into all towns right now, and with that comes the need for safety of its residents.
Yeah, and overlaps with some of the provincial issues as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, not necessarily a municipal thing, but the advocacy for, you know, medical services, family doctors, family care teams.
Well, towns do play a big, you know,
Towns do.
The Gander municipality certainly has played a big part in that over
Yeah.
the years.
Can you attract them here? Can you keep them here?
Quality of life, yeah.
Quality of life and so on. So, you know, a lot of things did come to the forefront. Interesting to see something like cell phone coverage. We just saw the last piece there from St. John's. And it seems to be a common complaint in a lot of municipalities.
Oh, yeah, well, you don't have to drive that far out of Gander to
No.
lose cell phone service.
Lose your cell phone service and so on. And, you know, like for fire departments that serve outlying communities, that when you get outside the main municipality, you know, a quarter of a mile outside the community, your cell phone service drops. So your police, ambulance, firefighters.
Well, and it was an issue this summer with the fires in the province,
Yes.
right? Certain communities faced it more than others. But
Which we certainly found out, and you know firsthand just how quickly fire can become a major part of everybody's lives. And, you know, with things getting drier and climate change doing weird things to the world,
yeah.
you know.
Issues that face us all, yeah.
So good communication, obviously, yes, it is part of every municipality's concern to keep that whole thing alive, you know, the channel of communication for everybody. you know.
Yeah, so early results showing up there for Gander. Tara Pollitt, who's an incumbent, looks like she's leading the way so far. Botwood, still nothing yet, and Bishops Falls was all acclaimed. And Grand Falls, Windsor, looks like we have some trickles, but the mayor is acclaimed.
Yeah, we had a great chat with Mike Brown. We'll show you that later in the show. But we had a great chat with Mike Brown, who has been in municipal politics now for more than 10 years. And, you know, he was looking at, he's now gone from deputy mayor to mayor. And just looking at the common issues that he has in his town that he will begin tackling tomorrow morning. You know, because once the sun comes up tomorrow, you are the mayor.
Yeah, it was interesting what Jenny Bright was saying earlier about how, you know, you kind of have, there's a little bit of time when new councils have to kind of find their groove, right? And learn how to work together if they're new or, you know, don't know each other. And so it's kind of interesting.
And of course, you know, it's quick work. You get in now. We're into October. By December, you're going to have your budget, which means your committees are going to have to be formed. They will have to meet. They will have to talk to staff. There's a lot of work to be done in a short period of time, because traditionally the budget tables mid-December, or usually the last council meeting before Christmas, before the Christmas recess. And, you know, to see where the money is, who's going to be chairing finance, who gets put chairs of the various committees and so on. It's a lot of work to be done in a few short weeks.
It is. So we're just hearing that the polls are coming in for Gander. So we're getting closer to knowing where this will all land. So for Gander, there was 10 councillors running for 6 spots. Is that
Of which,
do I have that right?
of which 3 of those were to be new positions on council.
Yeah, so the deputy mayor, Bettina Ford, is running in the provincial election. So that's why we didn't see her name on the ballot today, but will in a couple weeks.
Actually, we can see Bettina Ford at the hallway.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many of the running councillors and former councillors will be here over the course of the night too. It's sort of a gathering place on election night.
It is. It's cool. You can feel the energy.
You certainly can.
And it'll be exciting to see the winners come in later.
Yeah.
So Grand Falls, Windsor looks like, so 6 out of the 24 state polling stations closed. So some more numbers.
Okay, we just heard a woo-hoo out in the hallway, so I
happening.
expect a number will be coming anytime. It's amazing when you're in a town hall, you know, the range of emotions that will come from various doorways just coming into council chambers and so on.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the sandwich tray that we're looking at, but seems so far
I know,
away.
that was a little cruel for them to put the food like right
Yeah, we're
behind the
staring
camera.
straight at it,
Yeah.
and you know, it would look kind of bad if we got up and walked away and ate it. But it did cross my mind.
There's still time. The show's not over yet,
yes,
Brian.
there's still bits of time, but again, very early results coming in, trickle, but you know, once they start, they'll be fast and furious.
Yeah, that's the thing with municipal politics, right? There's not, well, especially in some of these communities, there aren't huge numbers that we're waiting for, so we will get to the end. So Grand Falls, Windsor, about 400 kind of each there.
Bennett, Hollett, Hiscock, and Cody, all the way down with Feener taking the 6th spot right now, but you're looking 20 votes in the difference between him and the next one.
Yeah, and a mixture of incumbents and newcomers.
Yep.
In Grand Falls, you can tell.
So, you know, a number of councils will have new blood on them. Case in point, right here in town. But, you know, again, consistency at the helm. As we see, Percy Farwell back for another term as mayor. Tara Pollitt leading the charge in Gander. Samantha Abbott, Pat Woodford, Sheldon, Hancock, Crystal West, and Oz Fudge still claiming the 6th and final spot. Jim Lidstone and Timayan Owajaya, which is a new name for us this time around, but has had quite a strong presence.
Yeah, and I think all the candidates in Gander especially are, you know, known in the community, maybe new to municipal politics, but all active members in the community in different ways. And I think what the forum showed was a really engaged group who all come at it with good intention. So I don't think, I don't think the town will lose tonight with whoever gets voted in.
No, some great names there on the list, and I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. And each represents an interest group or two or three or four.
Yeah, like has different experience.
Yeah, so, the essence of getting that vote out. Oh, Tara with a wider lead now. Tara Pollitt, Samantha Abbott, Pat Woodford, Sheldon Hancock, now Jim Lidstone ahead of Oz Fudge, but by 6
That
votes.
one's close, yeah.
Yeah, that one's shaping into a bit of a different one. So we'll see now, okay, we're up maybe a quarter of the votes in Grand Falls. Things should really start to gel now from here. And again, like we said, there were a lot of people out to the polls today.
In Gander.
That's a lot of,
It was a beautiful day. It was
in your
the
neighborhood?
parking lot. Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I'll start singing soon. But yeah, people were out. The polling stations were busy. So hopefully that means there was good turnout and lots of engagement with these candidates.
Of course, just a reminder for people here in Gander, this coming Monday, the 6th, the Candidates Forum for the provincial election will take place at Evangel Pentecostal Church. Great spot to come to. It's always nice if the seats are full, and there will be a chance for you to ask questions. So that is at 7 o'clock?
7, yeah, and we have Tom Healy and Bettina Ford, so Tom from the PCs and Bettina for the Liberals. So we're going to sit down, have some good conversation, and learn about provincial issues. So we'll be shifting gears after tonight over to the provincial election.
That will also be carried live on the Rogers Television Network and on Rogers streaming platforms. So make sure you tune into that here. And the provincial forum is on the, what is this Monday? This Monday is the 6th. Yeah. Okay, we're just hearing through the headset. It is on the 8th in Exploits and the 9th, is it, in Grand Falls, Windsor? Yep, so make sure you're there as well. So we just heard that from the control room as well. The forums are a chance to see your candidates firsthand, hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
They will be questioned on the main issues. They will be asked for their answers, and
And I think, I think in this day and age, it's really nice. These are really respectful forums. They're not making digs at, this is really getting into the issues.
Yes.
Having productive conversation from different perspectives about the issues that are important to all of us. So a really great way to learn about the candidates, learn about the issues. And we did it with the municipal election here in Gander, and I think really helpful, because you see all these posts on social media, but it's really nice to hear from the person directly on a wide range of issues.
And, ask your questions. If you have a question or a concern, now is your time to hear that. So again, we see some changes in the Gander polls, shaking as we get close to half of the votes coming in now. So, okay, so we have 10 out of 12 polls done here in Gander.
Close, yeah.
And
there's a sheet of paper walking towards
And there's a
us.
sheet of paper. We love paper. Paper doesn't move on the screen. Thank you, producer Roger.
The excitement I like. Okay.
Okay, here we
Quick,
go.
Brian, tell us what's on the paper.
Oh, this is vote by mail. Okay, so we've yet to see these.
Okay, so it looks like. Bear with us.
Yeah, bear with us. We've just seen these for the first time.
There's 12 polls. Oh, these are the 12 polls.
Okay, and there's,
the
and your
totals.
totals will be across, so, okay, and. Okay,
Okay, so 2 stations in Gander still we're waiting for, but it looks like Tara Pollitt has a pretty comfortable lead there, so she is an incumbent. I think this will
so
be
the
our
one,
third.
and then followed by Samantha Abbott. Then I'm seeing Sheldon Hancock. And then I'm looking at Pat Woodford, Crystal West is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the next one down.
Brian's a teacher, so I'm going to
Oh,
let
yeah.
him do the hard parts here
Yeah,
and analyze the data.
Okay, and then it looks like Jim Lidstone may be next, but followed closely by Oz Fudge. and then Barry Mullet. Now that's just a quick read down
So,
through.
and you can see it on the screen, which is also does the tally for us here. So Tara Paulette leading, Sam Abbott behind there.
And okay, it looks like Jim Lidstone has now settled into the 6th spot.
But 2 polling stations still we're waiting for,
Yeah.
I believe.
So that will firm up the Gander race.
But we're close with Gander. So those numbers they were slow, but then
I told you, that's what usually happens.
yeah. Yeah, and so Grand Falls, Windsor there, a few more trickles in. And great to see, I think both in Gander and Grand Falls, Windsor, lots of candidates running for councillors, so lots of engagement. Even though the mayor was acclaimed, clearly lots of engagement from a councillor perspective,
Absolutely, yeah,
which is awesome.
yeah. So, as we said, surprises are the name of the game in this, and you never know till it's over.
Yeah.
I still go back to one, I guess, I don't know if you call it my fondest memory, but one of my memories of an election where we waited between the second last poll and the last poll for 45 minutes, and there were 3 prospective councillors for the final spot, all within 5 votes of each other.
Well, that sounds a little stressful for them.
That was not a little bit stressful, that was a whole lot stressful, yeah.
Okay, well, let's turn it back over to St. John's, Laura Lydia, and see if there's more numbers coming in from the east. So let's turn it over to St. John's.
And we are back in St. John's doing the election updates and results as they come in, and we are getting some results coming in. So you want to share some of those?
Sure, we're getting some results by text from our team at MNL, and it's interesting. Some of the smaller towns we're hearing about, of course, it's the larger towns I think that we're keeping an eye on across the province, and those with multiple polling stations take a little longer to come in, but a few that we've been hearing from up on the Northern Peninsula, St. Lanier Griget, Dale Colburn, incumbent mayor, has won her seat. So she had a contested this election while she was acclaimed last time, and won her seat. In Burlington, Mayor Rudy Norman, the incumbent mayor, was contested by 2 candidates, and just won his re-election up in Burlington as well. Holyrood is another interesting one that we just received news on, and that's a really interesting one because the incumbent mayor, Mayor Gary Gooby, was contested, and Laura Crawley won the mayor's seat. So we'll have a new mayor in Holyrood.
Well, congratulations, Laura. That's amazing.
No, it's so exciting to see them all come in, and as we get more, we'll definitely update as well.
Yeah,
Congratulations to everyone who's
yeah,
won their seat so far.
congratulations to everyone. This is great to see, and this is where the excitement comes in, to see the results and seeing people, work so hard to get to where they are and things like that. So, well, we were talking off air there, of course, we're talking about Chief Jenny, and she actually mentioned the correlation between municipalities and the Halibu Nation. And Rob, you actually mentioned that Chief Jenny is going to be a keynote speaker at your event. So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So shout out to Chief Jenny across the island right now. And MNL has a great relationship with Halibu First Nation. And our fall conference is coming up November 20th to the 22nd in Cornerbrook, so in Halibu territory. And Chief Jenny has been gracious enough to agree to speak on the second day of our conference. So we're really excited to have her come and do a keynote.
That's excellent. And, she's doing an amazing job with Dustin over in Cornerbrook as well, and seeing their reactions and all the results coming in. So I want to ask you guys, because, it is a big job, coming or becoming a councillor for the very first time. So, what type of training is involved with that?
So there is some mandatory training that is involved, and they do have now 6 months to complete that training from when they are elected. So when a new councillor comes on, you only have a short period of time now to actually deliver a budget. So there's quite a bit of training that is needed. So the Department of Municipal Affairs and Community Engagement has developed a great training program for them, and we will be offering some training as well at the conference coming up in Cornerbrook in November. And we are developing that in partnership with Municipal Affairs and Community Engagement, as well as professional municipal administrators. So again, it's a great opportunity for people to come out to the conference, learn a little bit more about the sector, because it is a big learning curve.
Absolutely.
And we want to ensure that they have all the supports that they can to ensure that they can do the best job for their communities.
And as we were talking about earlier, we encourage everyone who has an interest in their community to come forward. So, a lot of candidates don't necessarily have experience that would give them knowledge in things like legislation, bylaws, how a local government, how a town hall runs. And that can vary quite a bit across the province. We have 78% of our towns have less than 1,000 people in population. About half of those have one or fewer, we would say, full-time equivalents staff. So that means there could be a town clerk manager who works 2 afternoons a week. So you can imagine in that case, a lot of responsibility falls to the town council to understand their roles and responsibilities. Things like Robert's rules and how to run council meetings, but also understanding the jurisdiction that is local government. Because you do see people come forward with a variety of issues, and they're not always within municipal jurisdiction or solely within municipal jurisdiction. And like Alexa said, there's a steep learning curve. Doing budgeting, town budgeting it can be quite different, of course, than other types of budgeting. And as we mentioned before, there's specific types of revenue sources that towns have. And just interacting with your neighboring communities, those sorts of things. So we hope to see all our councillors come to our conference in the fall, but especially the new councillors, because they can meet people who've been around a while and get mentored, but we can also help people settle in and get their feet under them.
So for those that do want to run, say, are there specific qualifications that they need, or is it open to kind of anyone, or is there any attributes that you would like to see or that you have seen in the past?
I'm smiling at you.
There's no list of qualifications, I would say, to run, certainly. You want, and this was part of the messaging around the You for Council campaign.
Yes.
A big thing that came out when we did conversations with current and former councillors and mayors and asked them why they initially ran. It was what we ended up terming the nudge. So someone else asked me to, someone else told me I would be good at it. I never thought of myself as in that role, but someone else thought I would be good at it. And it's that care for your community, if you care about your community and maybe you care about a specific issue. It could be trails, it could be accessibility, it could be drinking water, it could be anything in between. And that makes you qualified to be on your council. We'll help, and the Department of Municipal Affairs will help you get your feet under you once you're there. And that's a message I would say to anyone who gets elected for the first time tonight. There's plenty of help out there through MNL, through the provincial government, through your more veteran councillors and mayors around you, and avail of that. Come in with humility and ask for help.
Excellent. And we're just going to throw it back just to see what some more options are there. Okay, yeah, so we're getting big numbers coming through here as well. Yeah, let's just see. There's more. Excellent. Perfect. All right, now we are going to throw it back to Gander to see what they're doing.
Okay, we're just getting polls here left, right, and center as we speak right now. Looks like we're waiting on a couple of polls, and there's some mail-in ballots that we are looking to see if we will have them sooner versus later. We're hoping to have someone in after we go to Cornerbrook momentarily to do an explanation as to how the process will unfold before the final results are in. Latest results we have here right now, just in order. These are very unofficial, but we have in first place Tara Pollitt, Samantha Abbott, then Sheldon Hancock, Pat Woodford, Crystal West, and Jim Lidstone as of now. But again, these are not final, and these are quite unofficial in terms of results, but things are, the landscape is taking shape, you know, and we should have some final results momentarily.
Yeah, let's head over to Cornerbrook because we're hearing that there's some final numbers for Deer Lake that are interesting. So let's pass it over to Dustin. Yeah, let's head over to Cornerbrook because we're hearing that there's some final numbers for Deer Lake that are interesting. So let's pass it over to Dustin.
Yeah, so we are here and it is official. We have the numbers for Deer Lake. Of course, Dean Ball is the mayor by acclamation. And then also elected. So we are here and it is official. We have the numbers for Deer Lake. Of course, Dean Ball is the mayor. Gian, can you hit the monitor? Thank you. Smith and Strangemore are going to be making up the new council in Deer Lake. Fitzgerald, Hines, Jones, Park, Smith, Strangemore. Deer Lake has a new council.
Congratulations, Deer Lake.
Is there a Mi'kmaq flag in Deer Lake or a Hollywood flag? I've seen there's a nice one in City Hall in Cornerbrook now.
There is a nice one in City Hall of Cornerbrook. I made it actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
Skills.
I did. Yeah, it's very special, near and dear to my heart.
She can lead. She can sew. She can weld.
Oh yeah, my dad says you can put arse in a cat. I don't know if
Absolutely.
I can say that on TV.
You can on Rogers. You can. So I do see that though. Like some of these communities are, you know, I guess, more or less integrating and recognizing, you know, their heritage, the culture, recognizing the members of their community.
Yeah, I would challenge all of the municipal leaders that are listening. If you are an identified Mi'kmaq community, get that flag up. What are you waiting for? I can help you with that.
What if they don't have a flag?
We'll get it for you. We'll come and we'll help you put it up. It'll be ceremonial. It'll be beautiful. What a nice way to start off in this new year. In this new council. I think Stephenville might have been the first community to put one up that I'm aware of.
Right.
Forgive me if I'm wrong there, but I feel like that's something we talked about recently. So we're grateful to them for that. They do a lot of great initiatives in their community and a lot of others are following. So yeah, get those flags up. I mean, it's really important. Now, Cornerbrook has one on the inside of City Hall, but not on the outside. But I suspect this new council will get right on that.
So, you know, you feel that every city hall has flagpoles, and we should have that flag up there.
Absolutely. It's the Mi'kmaq Grand Council flag. That's our traditional government.
Right. So thanks for clarifying, because I thought, just again before, I thought it was like the Hollyboo. I thought it was like a band flag, but that flag represents all Mi'kmaq peoples in
Mi'kmaqi. So Mi'kmaqi is Atlantic Canada, parts of Maine, Quebec, Boston, I think as well. So before provincial borders existed, it was Mi'kmaqi.
Right.
And that's our traditional government, and we have treaties right across, and it still exists. I sit on a small working group with some of the Mi'kmaq Grand Council. Most members of the Mi'kmaq Grand Council are fluent in their language. They're all men. There's a tie to the church because their connection to the church was what really allowed them to sustain and thrive.
Yeah.
It's really historical, really interesting if anybody wants to take the time to research or even chat about it sometime.
The history is really interesting. I know some of the history still gets uncovered. There's super fascinating kind of
Grand Chief Norman Syllaboy came again this summer. He's our Grand Chief of the Mi'kmaq Grand Council, and he joined us for the Elmastiquik Mawiomi this summer.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit more? Is this the second one of those, or has there been more of those?
Third, maybe?
So talk about
it
that
grows
a little
every
bit.
year. Oh my goodness. So Sherry Dean, who I will say again is running for Cornerbrook, and our very own Rob Bennett is running in Grand Falls, Windsor.
Yes, I
so we
saw
have
that.
a few of our community members
Did
that
we
are
see
running.
that he actually was elected?
I'm not sure if he's elected, but he's doing quite
we'll have to
well, I think.
keep an eye out. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, so our Elmastiquik Mawiomi is growing every year, and we get more and more people coming every year. Just it's unbelievable. But this year was a great success. The weather was nice, and like I said, we had members from the Grand Council. We had folks from over across the water that came and joined us, and drum groups, and I mean, we have a lot of celebrations throughout the territory. So a lot of smaller communities will do events, and the St. George's Cultural Revival Committee has a powwow in Flat Bay every year, and that gets bigger every year as well, and that's been going on for a long time. And I attended the one in Con River as well. So yeah, and that's a huge powwow every year. I mean, Con River is really remote. It's kind of hard to get, not hard to get to, but it's out of the way.
It is. You have to make an intentional trip.
Oh yeah, you do.
With these Maui Omis, just for like when people see them next year and future years, like are they kind of open? Like is this
absolutely
open thing? Anybody
open.
can go.
Encouraged. We want Indigenous and non-Indigenous people to come there and learn.
Membership is not a factor.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's really important to come there and learn, and for folks that want to understand the cultural practices, feel free to ask questions. Don't shy away, come dance. My mom's not Indigenous, and she's, I always drag her into the arbor for a dance.
Right.
And it's important. It's important for us all to get together and get along, right?
I do think it's cool. And I think like even, again, if you don't need to be a member, you don't need to be a self-identified Indigenous person. You can just be a history enthusiast, and you're going to have a really good time uncovering the story of what's gone on here, Like, obviously, there's a lot of darkness, but I mean, the history is rich. And,
but the powwows are a time to celebrate.
Yeah, and you talked about, when you just said like about provincial borders, you spoke about before provincial borders, and I started instantly thinking about this place before we had municipal borders, which was only not long ago, right? So we've had 100 years of municipalities here, and before that, we had hundreds and thousands of years of Indigenous people taking care of this very land.
And we're still trying to do the same.
Right.
Yeah, which is why our municipalities need to work with us.
Exactly.
All of that traditional knowledge, all of that environmental stewardship that needs to go forward. It's a critical time. Everybody wants a piece of this beautiful place. Everybody wants to take advantage of the mineral-rich lands we have, all of our resources. And
we're on the map now.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's looking at us, and they see opportunities, but I attended a conference just recently, and we talked about the importance of engagement at the moment of the idea stage.
Right.
And our governments are far too often given permission to industry developers, and then they come to us and say, oh, we want to engage with you, and we want, consultation. But consultation happens at the idea stage, not after.
Yeah, because in this way, you're already kind of on your back foot, then, right? They're coming to you, you feel like you need to stop this thing that's already seems to be happening before you've even been consulted.
But the province has already said yes, so where do we stand in that? So the province needs to understand that the idea stage is where we need to be consulted, and not after permission's been given. It's too late then.
And I would say with the municipalities, that should also be the case. It's not less about recourse and more about opportunities. Like if there's an idea for something, there's most likely, from the sounds of this, an opportunity for a collaboration and a partnership. So.
I had an opportunity to speak with folks that worked on Churchill Falls, and they said their biggest mistake was not speaking to the Indigenous groups first. They would have saved so much money, because that's how they talk. They talk in terms of money. So the project could have saved a fortune if they had talked to the Indigenous folks first instead of making all those mistakes and going to them after. Wow. So it's, come to us first, talk to us first, and work with us. We all want the same outcome. We want, environmentally sound, responsible economic development. We don't want to do anything at the cost of our children's future. I don't think anybody wants to put that at risk.
I think that is absolutely the average Newfoundlander's sentiment. We need opportunities, but we need to protect our land. And right now, I think our Indigenous governments are doing the best job of doing both, providing, creating opportunities, and being stewards.
Yeah, certainly trying.
Yeah, so super excited. And congratulations again to Deer Lake on your new council. There's
Looks
some
like
Cornerbrook numbers.
Up.
But it's not final yet. So we just got a light. We're going to throw it back to Gander, and hopefully by the time we come back, we'll know who the Cornerbrook Council is going to be.
Exciting.
All right, back to you, Gander.
And like in a lot of places, the race is really shaping up, things moving in. I know in Gander, we're basically waiting now on a poll and possibly some other votes, but the race is very quick closing up. Not a whole lot of definitive results yet, as the race between 6 and 7 is very, very tight. Of course, with me, no stranger to anybody who's been around municipal politics, my good friend Mayor Percy Farwell. First of all, Mayor Farwell, congratulations on your acclamation as mayor for how many terms now?
Well, this is my third term.
Third term.
Second time I've been acclaimed, yeah.
Wow. So it's got to feel good.
Well, it does. I mean, it's a privilege, obviously. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to serve in this capacity, and I certainly look forward to it for the next 4 years, and I'm really excited about I don't have as much nervous tension here this evening as many other people watching this show or hanging out in the building here because, you know, it was a foregone conclusion for me.
Yes.
But I certainly have a lot of interest and excitement around the outcome, because obviously 6 people will be elected tonight. In the case of Gander, that 6 people will be elected. I will be part of a team with those 6 people in trying to guide the town through the next 4 years. You know, and I'm really looking forward to that. You know, I'm really excited about whoever the 6 are. It's starting to become fairly clear who certainly 5 of them will be. But I just want to say, you know, like all 10 names on the ballot, congratulations and thank you. It's you know, anyone that understands anything about this role of public life, whether it's at whatever level it's at, it's not for the faint of heart, and it takes a certain amount of courage and commitment and dedication and to your community to put your name forward, you know. And we had 10 people that did, and I certainly congratulate all 10. You know, as it's a numbers game, and 6 of those 10 will form the council. Certainly congratulations to those, but thanks to everybody that was willing to step forward in times when, you know, there's a lot of deterrence to people running for councils these days, with the, you know, particularly with the social media and the issues of harassment and that sort of thing. These things are well known to people that are in this game, and well understood, and sometimes takes a great toll on people. I guess it varies from person to person. So it's not, you know, it's not a small decision to step forward in an arena like this. And you know, I congratulate everybody and look forward to working with the 6 that are going to be elected here this evening.
So we're into the process right now. Where exactly are we? Like, we're waiting on one poll. Would that just be a traditional poll, more than likely, having been around a lot of elections, or would it be sort of a special ballot type
Well,
thing?
what it looks like here is there's probably one poll yet, one regular poll, you know, a certain number of streets waiting to report, but the vote by mail count is not factored in yet, and that's not surprising because we had approximately 650 people vote by mail, so it takes a while to tabulate that, probably longer than many of these other polls. And it also means that, you know, that's a lot of votes out there that could alter the results somewhat. You know, it's because there are 650 times 6 votes, potential votes out there. So that certainly, nothing's determined, I guess, finally, until those are in. Although there are some gaps that are, that are there now that I don't think would be closed, and it's probably fair to assume that trends that have developed in the other 11 or 12 polls would probably hold true in the vote by mail as well, but not necessarily, you know, a direct link there, because a certain type of voter votes by mail, a certain age of voter might vote by mail, and so on. So, but yeah, so the numbers are far from finalized until that poll particularly comes in, and there is another regular poll not reporting. So, you know, there could be 900, 1,000 people,
which could change a lot of things,
yet to report. So we'll see.
So hypothetically,
a bit more tension and nervousness for some people, I guess.
So when could we possibly hope? Like, would it be in the short term we would get all the numbers, or could it be a longer process looking at like the special ballots?
I don't know that it would be a whole lot longer. I mean, you know, there's teams of people doing each of these polls, so it's not like you got to wait till one is finished till the other one starts. So I don't know, you know, if we have 650, I noticed we have a couple of polls here that had, you know, quite a few votes. For the most part, it looks like 200 to 300 per poll, but I think there's one there in particular looks like considerably more than that. So, you know, that would be lagging behind, obviously, because things had to be counted and recounted, and it's not just a yay or nay, and it's not like a 2-person ballot. It's a, you know, six or 10 columns to be tabulated for each of those ballots. So you know, I wouldn't say it's a whole lot longer. We'd expect to have to wait, but it's certainly understandable that the vote by mail poll is you know, one of the last to report. And I should say, you know, we're very pleased that the vote by mail has run pretty smoothly. This is the 3rd time, I think, Town of Gander has offered vote by mail as an option. City of St. John's, of course, has exclusively vote by mail. And of course, with the postal strike, That resulted in having to delay the election, obviously, because of the volume of votes that may not arrive by October 2nd. But in our case, there were 650 or so out there. When the postal strike came along, our staff here, worked very diligently tracking all those vote by mail ballots that had gone out, so we could determine, who to reach out to, which ones had not been returned, and that sort of thing. Because, the whole point of the vote by mail is to hopefully get some people, give some people the ability to vote that might not otherwise have that opportunity. And from what our staff have ascertained, there is, literally maybe single digits of vote by mail ballots that were requested and sent out that we can't account for right now. So I think that's quite good in the circumstances. They could be ballots that someone requested and then they went on top of the fridge and they never did send them. And we're trying to reach out to all those, or we were trying to reach out to all those people to make sure everybody's vote was going to count, right? So,
Well, right now, we're looking between the last council position and the 7th position, spread out, I think, 32 votes.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of things to watch for yet. But right now, we're going to head off to the East Coast again, back to the St. John's studio with Lori Lydia Lovelace, and we're going to see what's happening on the Avalon.
And welcome back to the studio here in St. John's, where myself, Rob, and Alexis are trying to keep up with all of the latest and all the buzz happening here, of course. So I want to ask, with the provincial election approaching, of course, what kinds of conversations are happening within the municipalities?
Yeah, it's a busy time for our organization. While we've been, over the last few months, encouraging people to run and vote in the municipal elections, we've also been doing advocacy toward the provincial election, which is part of what we always do for municipalities. And we've sent a letter to each of the parties, the party leaders, asking for their responses on a few policy issues. A big one is, and it's something that keeps coming up tonight, infrastructure is a big piece of that, and particularly drinking water and wastewater. So there's about, on any given day, there's about 100 towns or 100 boil water advisories across the province.
Wow.
Right now, there's a couple of dozen towns that have been on boil water advisories for over 20 years. So that really needs a solution, but it's not something that can be solved by those individual towns on their own. And we need the provincial government's help on that. Wastewater, there's about 94 towns right now that are not meeting federal regulations for wastewater effluent. And that essentially means that they're pumping raw sewage into the ocean. None of these towns want to be doing that.
Right.
They just don't have the systems to clean that. And they don't have the money to put the systems in place. So that requires provincial and federal funding. That goes back to what we were talking about, the funding arrangements, the way that revenue is generated in towns, that towns are locked into their property tax. Some other things that we brought up, we talked a little bit about, or we heard your colleagues talk about public safety.
Absolutely.
And especially in the wake of the fires over the summer, that's on everyone's minds. But most of our towns are served by volunteer fire departments, and fire departments fall under municipal jurisdiction. Any of us who have driven across the province have seen, firefighters out with boots doing fundraisers. And they do receive funding from the municipalities, they do receive funding from the provinces, but that's not enough to keep things going in those fire departments. So they depend a lot on fundraising. And when we see what happened over the summer with those fires, and even, if anyone has had a house fire or a fire in their community, do we really want to be depending on fundraising to support our fire departments? And our organization thinks not, so we're advocating on that. We also hear from our towns around policing across the province, and that varies greatly, how close you are to a detachment. But response time can be quite a while for a lot of our more remote towns. And that's been a real issue that's come up.
I can certainly relate with that, because where I'm originally from, there's one establishment or one police force for the 10 communities or so. It's and like you say, the response time is something that that is considerable for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned cell phone service being an issue as well.
Yes.
Where you're from. And there's a lot of highway, but there's also a lot of rural and remote towns that in
So
the actual
true.
municipalities you can't get cell service. Alexis said, it's not a luxury, it's a lifeline, and that's a big piece of the puzzle as well. And that's, a complicated one because it requires the work of all orders of government and the private sector. But when you're talking about maybe the north coast of Labrador, there's not a profit-driven, a market-driven motive for the telecoms to put in new towers. So how do we work together as communities to get that cell phone infrastructure in there to make sure that public safety is top of mind and people have those communications?
Absolutely. And so we've been seeing more female candidates, stepping forward in this municipal election. So what do you think this says about the representation of local politics and how it might shape the future for decision-making in the community?
Well, I think it's phenomenal
I
to finally
agree.
see representation of what our communities actually look like. So it is great to see all different people in these roles and running for this office. It's phenomenal, and it's really heartening to see, because for a lot of times what we have heard from our members and people who were interested in politics were that for women especially, you didn't know if you necessarily had a place there. And a woman's place is wherever she wants it to be as well.
Yes.
She has every right to run, and we know that many of them and many of our municipal leaders are doing a phenomenal job in that space already. So it's great to see it being more representative of our actual communities. So we're hopeful that trend will continue, and we will continue to see all genders included in municipal politics going forward.
Sure. And, with all the elections coming through and everything, so, I'm thinking it's going to be an exciting evening. Like, I'm feeling the excitement. I don't know if you guys are feeling the way I am. I've been buzzing around, just checking everything and seeing the latest results and everything coming in. But I know that you did also mention, again, lots of supports that you provide, and how can people get in contact with you to get those services, get that support from you?
Certainly. So our website is a great resource. So that is just municipalnl.ca. We can be found on multiple social media platforms, and again, our username is @municipalnl. We try to be sure that we post all of the resources that we do have. There is a wide range of them on our website. Many of our events, as Rob mentioned earlier, we have our upcoming conference. That is a great opportunity, especially for new councillors, to really come out, learn what the sector's about, learn what are some of the key issues. And you really help us by coming to that event to help us form our advocacy for the year.
Absolutely.
So at our annual meeting, we do develop resolutions, and those resolutions are really driving all of our advocacy efforts for the years. So right now, many of the items that we are advocating for provincially and during the municipal election, we're hearing our concerns, are things that our members have brought forward to us. So it's really a great tool, a great resource for you to get involved. Please be sure to reach out to us. We want to be there and support you as best we can. It is not an easy job. There are certainly challenges to it, as we've heard from Mayor Farwell. Harassment is an issue that people are facing, and this is something that we take very seriously as well. Bullying is never okay.
No.
We can have a disagreement about things, but bullying is never okay, full stop. So this is something that we are going to be sure to have more sessions on at our upcoming conference, and we are working and advocating on our members' behalf to the provincial government as well, and to all provincial parties to try to ensure that there are more supports for our municipal leaders coming forward.
Sure. And is there any advice or any suggestions that you would give to someone that's now newly elected, I guess, in saying that?
I think ask lots of questions as you're getting started. And most of the councils have some veterans around the table that have been around a long time. Get to know them, find a mentor around the table, like any kind of new role, new job. And like Alexis said, come to our events. It's a great way to to meet people who are in similar situations. You know, many of our towns, you know, can be pretty remote, and when you're on a 5-person council and you're not interacting necessarily with neighboring communities, it can feel pretty lonely, and sometimes it can feel like the issues your council is facing are isolated. And you know, we see that across the province, the issues that are faced by our municipalities are really common across the province. So it's good to get involved with neighboring communities, get involved with MNL, and meet people who are on other councils to have those conversations. Even the harassment and bullying issues, you know, you can really feel alone sometimes in those instances. But when we bring people together for regional meetings or for our conferences, you know, that it really is a topic of discussion that everyone is having and everyone's dealing with. It's awful that everyone's dealing with it, but when people can come together in a room and kind of share what they're going through, it makes it feel like a supportive space.
Absolutely. It sounds like more of a support and a networking event that you can certainly have as well. But you know, we're so happy to have you here and to know that those services are available for all the candidates. You know, it's really great to see. So thank you for that as well. So right now, you know, we're going to take a moment and see how things are going in Gander, and we'll throw it back to you.
And here we are back. Gander Town Hall chambers, soon to be filled with some new faces. The race here right now, very unofficial. It looks like we have all 12 polls in, still waiting on the mail-in ballots. We will give a note of safetiness to, that's not saying elected.
Sorry, what does that mean?
A note of safetiness. It means you can breathe a little easier to Councillor Tara Pollitt, newcomer Samantha Abbott, Councillor Sheldon Hancock, Councillor Pat Woodford, and Crystal West. That takes us down to 5 positions. As of right now, to the best of our unofficial stats, Jim Lidstone and Oz Fudge are duking it out with a 29-vote spread. Now,
And about 650
yeah.
mail-in ballots still waiting, so.
So the element of change is very real to happen. Now we're looking at things shaping up in Grand Falls, Windsor.
So 19 out of the 24 stations reporting, so getting a little closer in Grand Falls, Windsor as well. So.
And we also have some results, I think, coming from Botwood. Yes, we do. Okay, so we have Budgell, then Hancock, Jacobs, Jeans, and Boone.
It is a little hard to follow the moving screen, so.
Yep. And the Broderick getting the, again, but 6 and 7, very close. So down to the wire, which in a lot of cases, these last 2 positions tend to be. They can go down, you know, often to recounts. We've got some tight races, basically shaping up here, but no bet yet. As Percy did tell us, or Mayor Farwell did tell us, 650 votes coming in the special mail-in ballots. That can change a lot of things. You know, that's the size, in some cases, of 2 polling stations. So maybe 3. So there could be a lot of things change here yet before the night's over.
We will wait for those. And Grand Falls, we still have some stations reporting in. So over the next half hour, we should see that firm up.
Nice to see Eric Boone's name there. Of course, Eric in Botwood, that's where they live now. They were longtime residents of Gander. I know Eric and Marilyn quite well.
You do know everyone.
Well, yeah, I tend to know everybody. And yeah, how do you know them? Yes, I taught both their daughters.
Usually Brian taught them, yes.
Yeah, I taught both their daughters. So yeah, it's, you know, it's anybody's, actually, in Marilyn Boone was my childcare for my son for a while, so why not?
Why not?
It's a small world out there.
It is.
Yes.
It is, especially in municipal politics.
Municipal
and small
politics, it's
towns.
just, you know, because you tend to know so many of these people.
Yeah, and just behind us here, there's some chatter. Some of the councillors from Gander are starting to gather here at the town hall as these results are getting closer to being finalized.
Some are just congratulating each other, others are checking their phone for election results.
Yes,
So,
and eating snacks.
you know, but right now for the 6th spot, Jim Lidstone is ahead of Oz Fudge by 29 votes. So that's not a big margin. You know, a lot can change with especially 650 mail-ins
Yeah.
still to be counted or still to be processed
Well,
and
it just goes
tabulated.
to show too, I think with every election, we saw it in the federal election too, that voter turnout can play obviously such a huge part. You know, these are kind of fairly, I think they're on trend with what's happened in the past, but they're not, you know, when you look at the population of the town, clearly not everyone is voting.
And you know, you can say you can vote, you're going to vote for someone all you want, but until you put that X in the circle,
Yeah, you gotta show up.
yeah, you got to show up and you got to mark your X.
Absolutely.
And then it's official, you know. So it's going to be nice to see the final result. But right now, we have the 3 incumbents looking fairly safe here in Gander, and we have 2 of the 3 seats filled behind us. But
Yeah, so another station reporting in for Grand Falls, Windsor. So a few more numbers coming in, and of course in Grand Falls, Windsor, the mayor who you spoke to earlier today.
yes,
Is a claim, so we'll probably roll that later in
we
the
will.
show.
Yep.
But how is he feeling today about the councillors and the election?
Well, you know, he likes to slate, and you know, he's got some good people running, and that's you can't go wrong there. But like we said earlier, there's going to be a lot of work to be done in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
We're going to be heading into a new fiscal year. We're going to be dealing with a budget as much as 2 months from now,
Yeah.
and committees to be formed right out of the gate in the coming days, and first committee meetings and
Yeah.
orientations, and away you go. Of course, for the new councillors, there is an orientation that they do. Training, and you don't just jump into the reins.
Yeah, no, it was nice to hear from Rob and Alexis kind of on, you know, overall
Yeah.
from, you know, a provincial perspective, how municipalities are supported, how these councillors and mayors are supported. They're not completely left on their own. There is a community of support as they dive into the role.
So right now, we're going to take a little look at things over in Cornerbrook, where I think things are starting to take shape. I believe their mayor is now official, and we're going to get some very late results from Cornerbrook.
Go.
All right, and now we are back, and once again, congratulations, Deer Lake, on your new council. Very exciting council up there. Pasadena, the numbers are just starting to come in. Right now, it looks like Darren Gardner is in the lead, but there's still lots to report there. And I think, Jenny, it's now at this time for Cornerbrook officials that they have a new mayor in Linda Chason.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting.
Are you all right? Are we okay with that?
I think we're more than okay with that.
Yeah, I
That's
like
great.
Linda.
I mean, we had 2 awesome female candidates. I'm so excited that we have a female mayor of Cornerbrook. I mean, I'm a little biased, but it's going to be nice to have a female counterpart to work with.
Who was the last female mayor, I wonder? Probably Priscilla Butcher.
Priscilla Butcher,
right.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's going to be really exciting. Linda has been awesome as deputy mayor. I mean,
You've had some interactions, I guess, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, Linda's my neighbor. I go way back with her son Jonathan, and I've known her for years. And she's a community player. She never misses our events. She's always there to reach out and see how she can work with us. So I know Linda's going to fly Mi'kmaq flag very soon. I can tell this new council is going to be all there to work with us.
They're
I'm
going to
so
be
excited.
on the go. Yeah, Linda's like, I know, you know, myself, I'm like in this events and entertainment space and stuff. I met Linda originally when she was, we were on the Special Olympics when the National Games came here.
Yeah.
Of course, she was very involved, and we were on the committee together. But one thing I found out about Linda at that time was that she also was interested in events and entertainment, and has dabbled in those things in the past.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a sign that Cornerbrook could have an exciting few years coming up. Hopefully, we'll see a focus. She's very vocal, and she likes to see cool things happen.
Yeah.
So hopefully now we'll see an uptick in that type of stuff here.
Absolutely, yeah. She's got her grandson that lives here. Jonathan moved home a few years back, and I know that she's really dedicated to making sure that all of our youth have a really vibrant, fun city to live in. She wants to see our youth stay here and thrive in Cornerbrook. So that's really exciting.
Yeah. And I think she's going to, you know, click well. We'll see who the council is going to be that she's going to be leading, but looking at that, I think it's
there's
gonna be
an
good.
awesome slate of folks that have come forward. I'm so proud to see all these people. I mean, it takes a lot of work to run a campaign. And, you know, it's not for the faint of heart. It's really not easy. You know, elections can be really tough. So kudos to everybody that came forward. And I can't wait to see who we have right across the island. It's going to be really nice to see people get settled in and figure out their mandates and reach out to their First Nation and work collectively.
How much time do you think, like, you know, what would you think? How long does it take for a council to sort of, like when you first get a council together, is it hard to get things done right out of the gate, or, you know, with the right leadership, is it possible right from day one to go in there and start to be checking things off?
I think it depends on the council for sure, but for us, we wanted to really get to know one another, and we wanted to do some training around governance and just logistics and kind of sit down and brainstorm about what we wanted to see our next 4 years look like, because we have a 4-year term. So I think a solid 6 months to a year to really, you know, build that bond and
do a
create
little
that
dating. You know,
speed
before
dating.
Yeah.
So speed dating, getting to know one another, and then getting off the ground and getting things, you know, getting things in order.
That makes
so
sense.
The sooner the better, but I think it's important not to rush that.
Yeah.
To take the time you need to establish the relationships, set your visions and your goals, and get a good understanding of the roles and responsibilities. That's really key. Yeah.
And like, how important on a council do you think are those relationships? Like, do councillors need to be friends,
No.
or they just need
You
to
do not
you
need
know?
to be friends, but you absolutely have to respect each other.
Right.
Because council's not about everybody nodding and smiling and agreeing. It's about challenging one another and bringing ideas to the table and flushing them out. It's exciting. And it shouldn't be, no one should be offended around the council table to not agree. It should be an opportunity to explore any kind of different insight or feedback and make the best choices, the most informed choices. So I know our council, we slug it out here and there, but we always smile at the end of our meetings. Like, we really enjoy each other, I think. You know, I can only speak for myself, but we laugh and carry on. Sometimes it gets tense, sometimes we disagree, but there's respect at the table, and we set that tone from the very beginning.
Yeah, your council would be, you know, you have a very complicated situation in your council. Not like the city, these are going to be all people who have to focus on this city, and their you know, their heart and soul is here in this city. Your council is made up of people from all over the place,
we're spread out.
and they all have their own unique needs in their like jurisdictions.
Yeah. But we represent one unified body.
Right.
So we can't ever focus on one community. It's the membership at large that we must agree on. Even though we all have, I guess the councillors all come bringing their own wants and needs for their communities. Ultimately, every decision has to be made with everyone in mind. So the councillors need to understand that, you know, they'll all have their priorities, but the decisions had to be made for the unified community.
Well said.
Yeah, for everyone.
And also for this new council, you are there as a very experienced leader, and so if somebody needs some advice on, you know, how to deal with some of these things, personalities, all this stuff, of course, challenges every new leader is going to have to face, but I know you're going to be there to help them deal with some of these
I've
things,
had
right?
folks all the way to Labrador and across Island reach out to me for advice, and whether it's good, bad, or ugly, I'll do my best to answer questions and be there to support anybody, because it's challenging, and we all need to work together.
Well, you're a good resource. I hope they tap into. And Jenny, like, the numbers are going to keep pouring in. I think we're going to have to basically sign off for the night.
Yeah.
But you know, the numbers, Rogers is going to play these until midnight. So
I may head to City Hall.
yeah, I guess there's a party going on down there right now. So that's a good idea. Maybe I'll go down with you.
There you go.
But to the viewers at home, thank you for joining us tonight for this coverage from Cornerbrook. It's been a pleasure. Jenny, thank you so much for coming down.
Thanks for having me,
And
Dustin.
of course, any other
Always a
developments that
pleasure.
come up, we'd love to have you on West Talk. We'd like
Absolutely.
to have you on every season or so anyway. So we'll have to make that happen.
Sounds good. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, guys. We're going to throw it back over the Gander. We're going to make our way probably down to City Hall. And once again, congratulations to the newly formed council up there in Deer Lake, and good luck to everybody else. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Dustin and Jenny. That was a great wrap-up. Glad to hear you have a party to go to after an exciting night in municipal politics. So I'm joined now by a special guest. Brian is taking a break. The snacks just drew him away from the desk. So we're joined now with Mark Eady. So Mark, tell me what brings you here tonight, from what perspective?
Well, Hannah, I'm here representing the Gander Area Chamber of Commerce. Again, I'm first vice chair, and I was asked to come down and have to speak a little on chamber and council relations.
Yeah, because I guess they work, there's a lot of overlapping issues between the business community and town council, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, but we share a common goal, right? Building a strong and sustainable, prosperous community. For businesses, it's people and all things, right? And and the chamber kind of exists as a, in conjunction with with council, for advocacy. We're partners in growth. We share responsibility in building the community, and hold each other mutually accountable. Right?
Yeah, definitely. If I think about the last few years, like there's a lot around healthcare, making sure we were getting doctors, like there were kind of invested interest, there was a lot of collaboration there. Yeah. Mining, I think too, recently, right?
Yeah, big time. And some of the issues in Gander are very unique to Gander, and others are, we've heard a lot from across the province, very similar, right?
Yeah.
But as you said here, housing is another a constant issue, right? We had a housing needs assessment done here in Gander a little while back, saying we need 700 homes in the next 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's, it's big, and that's on all levels. Affordable housing, student housing has become a new issue for Gander with the opening of Mons Nursing School.
Right, yeah.
And so we're trying to attract doctors as well. So medical housing, short term, long term.
Yeah,
it's a big issue.
So maybe for those that don't know, so you have the Chamber of Commerce that represents, businesses and business interests, and they have members that, they have dialogue with. How do they interact with town council? Is it is it specific issues that bring you together, or is there an open kind of dialogue?
It's very open dialogue, and previous councils have been fantastic in fostering these relationships.
Yeah.
But again, we bring issues on behalf of our members forward. So things in terms of business development, business growth.
I'm sure taxes.
Taxes do come up, of course. The airport here in Gander was one of our members, and so we're constantly advocating for improved air travel as well, right? And we hear the needs of the business people first, I'll say, sometimes even before council is made aware of them, right?
Right.
And again, so a big thing, like I said, as mentioned, is housing right now. That's kind of
a big one,
a big one where we're at. And there's some bright things on the horizon for Gander, right? So Newfound Gold has made an announcement that they plan to go into production by 2027. So that's very much going to change the economic landscape.
And that's going to be this council that is around,
right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be some very new things happening here. I mean, Goldman Sachs just came out and announced that they were anticipating $5,000 an ounce gold by the end of next year. Like these, it's big numbers, big dollars. So
opportunity.
Yes, and Gander is just going to change the economic and civic landscape of the town, right? With new professionals and some of the issues that come again, housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Mark, really helpful to kind of understand, I think, from different stakeholders what this election tonight really means. So you'll be collaborating with these new councillors as an organization, and be interesting to see what you can accomplish together, and also what the conversation brings. So thank you so much for bringing that perspective. We're going to pass it back over to St. John's now to wrap up with Laura Lydia. So we'll pass it over there.
And welcome back to the St. John's studio, where we're coming down to the final end of our live broadcast here in St. John's. And of course, I am joined by Rob and Alexis, who's been amazing co-host with me this evening. So thanks again for joining me.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask you, so where can people go to find the final results in their communities?
Yeah, so we haven't been seeing many results roll out, but on town Facebook pages, most towns have a Facebook page. They're posting the results on there. Most town websites should have results. And barring that, you can always drop by your town hall tomorrow and find out who your new council is.
Excellent. And so those that are elected tonight, what are those next steps looking like for them?
Well, towns are required to swear in their councils within 2 weeks of election day. So swearing in should be within the next couple of weeks. Often they'll have a swearing in right before the first council meeting. So within the next couple of weeks, it'll be off to the races for new councillors and mayors across the province. They'll get sworn in, they'll have their first meetings. and they'll get right to business. So it's very exciting, and you know, they'll be hitting the ground running over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and it sounds so exciting for all the new people that are elected and those are re-elected, of course. So, you know, is there any special message that you guys want to relay this evening?
For sure. Well, really, we want to congratulate everyone, no matter who, if you were elected or not. Congratulations for putting your name forward and standing up and trying to pursue the betterment of your communities. It is a job that we need more people to do, so thank you for taking the time out of your day and going and running for municipal office. And we would be remiss if we didn't also thank all of the volunteers, no matter if you volunteered on a campaign or if you volunteered with the polling station. Thank you so much. We have to thank the municipal staff. They make sure that these elections run smoothly. They are integral to the process, so we have to thank them. And of course, we have to thank all the voters. Municipal elections sometimes have a very low turnout, so it is great to see people coming out and being engaged in this. Again, it is the closest level of government to you, so you want to make sure that your voice is heard, especially here where it will impact you the most.
For sure. And like you said, voting is so important. And, you know, like, you know, everyone always asks, like, do I need to vote or should I vote? That one vote always makes a difference, as we are quite aware. So, you know, encouraging those to vote, you know, as well is super important. So is there any other advice or anything that you want to relay for this evening?
Yeah, I think you know, voting is really important, and St. John's and a couple of other towns still have elections because they've had their election day postponed. So in those towns, you know, I really encourage everyone to get out and vote. But we have the provincial election in 2 weeks, so especially if you're interested in local issues, you know, you can have a look at our website and see what we've been calling on, and definitely get out to vote there. As Alexis mentioned, local government is the closest and affects your daily life, but then the provincial government, of course, affects everything that we do as well. So it's important to, you know, keep that going. Don't get that voter fatigue after this election day. Get out in 2 weeks' time.
Excellent.
And tying into that as well, we would encourage everybody to stay tuned to MNL's channels, because we are having some survey results coming in where we have responses from all political parties that are running in the provincial election. So that would be great to show you where they align with some of the key concerns of our membership. So highly recommend that you keep your eye out for that, and that will be again on municipalnl.ca.
Yes, and so people can reach out to you also on your social. So can you tell our viewers what that would be as well?
Yes, so our handle on social platforms is @municipalnl.
Excellent. And so now that we're signing off shortly here in our studio, but we are still continuing going live at Gander, of course. So, you know, even though we're shutting down here, you're still getting all the live coverage in Gander. So what are you guys going to do for the rest of this evening while the results are coming in?
Scroll and wait till we find out all the results. Can't wait.
I think, the opposite of doom scrolling, I guess, election scrolling.
Exactly,
Yeah,
refresh. I told my partner Curtis, I was like, we're going to stay up all night, we're going to watch it, and you know, just be super engaged with it as well.
yeah, I think we have an excuse to be tired tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I think everyone will go to work with the same mentality, you know. But again, I want to, you know, thank all of our viewers for tuning in this evening. And again, because we are, you know, signing off here in St. John's, I just want to remind you that they are continuing live in Gander until the results are finalized. And again, Rob, you mentioned that people can go to their own websites and social media to see their results when they come in as well for their communities. So again, thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
And we're going to throw it back to Gander. Thank you.
And of course, we want to thank our counterparts in St. John's and Cornerbrook.
Yes, lots of fun.
Lots of fun, lots of updates.
And great perspectives. I really enjoyed kind of hearing about it from different angles tonight. Of course, exciting night for municipal politics, but nice to kind of piece it together of how it affects different communities. The province is big, and there's different issues in different areas, and the councils look different, across the province.
And of course, we look at some of the races that have shaped up, some safe sort of bets right now, although results still unofficial, and they remain unofficial until the last polls come in. But right here in Gander, it looks as though Tara Pollitt, Samantha Abbott, Sheldon, Hancock, Pat Woodford, and Crystal West are quite comfortable with their leads right now. We are still awaiting the mail-in special ballots, which...
But the good news is we still have lots of content. We did do some interviews this week, partly to kind of get different perspectives. But we do have some taped interview. We have some time to go through, and we're going to be here for another little while as these results come in. So we'll continue to share. We are also going to do some interviews with some of the councillors in Gander. But first up, let's go to the interview you taped earlier today that we've mentioned a couple times. So it's with Grand Falls, Windsor acclaimed Mayor Mike Brown. So let's watch that first.
On this election day, let me be the first to congratulate acclaimed Mayor Mike Brown, Grand Falls, Windsor. Mayor Brown, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Brian. Only happy to be here.
So how many terms is this for you now?
I started municipal politics in 2016. I ran the by-election. In 2017, I ran the full election. And again, in 2021, I ran in a full election. And in 2017 and 2021, I served as deputy mayor of the town of Grand Falls, Windsor, which gave me a good head start on what's about to transpire in the next 4 years.
So do you still get the tingles on election night? Do you still feel the excitement?
Not so much, to be honest. But you're right. I mean, people who run for municipal politics or any politics, election day is a stressful time. And but I never got the opportunity to feel that this time, having been acclaimed, it wasn't as stressful as normally it would be.
Now, Mike, take us back to that very first day. What prompted you to enter municipal politics back in 2016, was it?
That's correct. I guess the love of my community initially. I had always been involved in politics, provincially and municipally. I was a campaign worker for former mayors and campaign workers for former MHAs. So I had a little taste of it growing up, and I always had that inspiration to, at someday, run municipally. And luckily enough, that was successful up to this point.
Now, looking back over the legacy and looking forward, you've had your years as councillor, then deputy mayor, and now into mayor. What things do you look back at and they sort of make you beam a bit with pride?
Well, we had a successful last 2.5 terms since I've been here. It's been very successful. The town has grown population-wise. We've grown our boundaries, and there's a lot more people living in Grand Falls, Windsor, and working in Grand Falls, Windsor. So I'm most proud of that.
So you're looking ahead now. You're acclaimed as mayor. What things are you looking forward to accomplishing right out of the gate, because tomorrow starts a new term?
No, it does. And the first thing we need to do is there is a water issue in our town. Some residents, not many, some residents have a discolored water issue and have had it for some years now. So we look forward to getting that corrected. We've been working on it actually for the last 3 years and trying different things. We've been replacing major infrastructure around town. We think that is the issue here with the discolored water, is that there's a lot more infrastructure that needs to be replaced. And so we look forward to doing those big projects, doing those big infrastructure projects. The town is in dire need of a new recreation complex. Our 2 stadiums and our swimming pool in particular are much older now, and the upkeep of those facilities has cost the town a lot of money. Whereas we'd much rather be putting that money towards a new recreation complex. So those 2 issues initially we'll start working on right away.
So let's take a look now at the model with, because these things have to be afforded. There's a money thing. How well is the existing relationship for you with, say, the provincial government working to get these things done?
No, we've got a great relationship with the provincial government. Much very much pleased with our staff who work with different departments of the provincial government. And we've had a lot of success in recent years in acquiring funding, especially for infrastructure projects and paving projects. So we look forward to that continuing.
Now, is there possibly another term after this one? Like, do you still see the energy saying, yeah, I got 4 more, maybe another one? People want to know.
No, well, I really like this job. In fact, lots of times I love it, despite there are occasions when residents are upset and you take a few smacks, but you know that going in. So hopefully that I'm inspired to help people, and I can't see that ever ending. So we'll take this term as it presents itself, and then we'll start talking about the next one. But I love being a councillor. I love helping people, and that's one of the reasons I'm here at all.
Well, brand new Mayor Mike Brown, we look forward to 4 more years of talking to you and having a lot of conversations, and hopefully they're all good ones.
Okay, thank you, Brian, and thank Rogers as well, and Jeff Barry and his team. They air all our council meetings publicly. It's a great forum for our residents, and I understand you guys got a different program during the night, usually just local, but this year you're going provincial, so good luck with all that.
Thank you, sir, and we look forward to talking to you a lot.
Thank you, Brian. Look forward to it as well. Take
Talk
care.
soon.
All right, well, that was a great interview you did earlier today with Mike Brown. So he is the acclaimed mayor of Grand Falls, Windsor. So great perspective to hear how he's, thinking about the next term. So just before we go to another clip, just want to share the Botwood results you're seeing on the screen are pretty close now to being final, and same with Grand Falls, Windsor, and Gander. We just have 1 polling station for each of those left, so we're getting pretty close to having the final results. But while those are still trickling in, so you'll continue to see those on your screen, but we are going to go to one more pre-taped interview. Yeah, so in Grand Falls, Windsor, just to clarify, it's just the advanced poll that's left. So we'll wait for that to come in, but getting pretty close there. As you can see, 23 out of 24 reporting. So let's go to another interview you did today. You were busy.
Christa Toms, the acclaimed mayor of Bishop Falls.
Okay, great. So that's, let's go hear what Christa had to say from where was it? Where's Bishop's Falls?
Bishop's Falls.
Bishop's Falls. All right, let's take a look.
Christa Toms, acclaimed mayor of the town of Bishop Falls. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for inviting me today.
So take me back now, how long is this now that you've actually been in municipal politics?
I ran in a by-election in 2017, and then ran again in the regular election in 2021, where I was then named deputy mayor. And here I sit today. So I've got a few years experience under my belt and 4 years as deputy mayor.
Now take me back to that very first day. There's a spark. Obviously, every flame comes from a spark. What said in your head one day, I'm going to enter municipal politics?
I think for me, it was, I was born and raised in Bishop's Falls, raising my own family here in Bishop's Falls, and the timing was right. My children were a bit older. And I always had that sense of leadership, I guess we could call it. And the fact that I, not a person who generally sits on the sidelines and waits for things to happen or wonders why they are happening the way they are. I'm very much a person who wants to be involved and help evoke change and understand why change is occurring. So I think that's probably intrinsically why I took the initiative to run.
So look back now, you've got years as a councillor, you've got years as deputy mayor, and now you're heading into your first term as the actual mayor of Bishop Falls. What are you most proud of to date?
I have to say our council, our outgoing council, and the work that we've done, there's a lot of things that I could sit here and tell you that I'm very proud of. But under Mayor King's leadership and myself and council and a group of community members, I think one of the more prouder things I am that we've had developed within our community is our family care team. We found ourselves in a situation where we had no primary care physician and we had to think outside the box. so that our residents would have primary care within our town. And we've been very successful. And if you ask any member, I think, in our community, that they would say that this has been very well received.
Now, of course, tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, you will have a new nameplate on your door, and it will say Mayor Christa Toms. Right out of the gate, what do you see as the pressing issues for the town of Bishop Falls?
Pressing issues for the town, and I think most towns, are the boundary, the extension of Main Street into Grenfell Heights. That's a very pressing issue for me as mayor, and I would think my council, as well as climate adaptation. And always, you know, we have an aging population, and we have our infrastructure is aging. And so those things are very important.
So, Mayor Toms, when you start talking major infrastructure projects and so on in a town like Bishop Falls, we're obviously talking big ticket items. Big ticket items have big prices. Obviously, outside agencies are going to come to bat for these things. How's the current model of funding and the relationship with the province working for a town like Bishop Falls?
I have to say we've had a very positive, in my experience, very positive experience, and with our current government, we find that they listen to our needs, and obviously it's a competing world. We don't have, from a municipal perspective, financially, we can't support everything we need in the way of infrastructure, as I'm sure many towns throughout the province can't. But we've been very fortunate in, you know, working with our current government, both federally and provincially, to get some of our main goals met and achieved.
So, as everybody knows, costs are rising and so on. Is the cost of getting things done in a municipality like Bishop Falls, is that becoming more of a struggle, I guess, for you guys and everybody else with the rising cost of everything?
Yeah, we know even some projects that one time, you know, we could handle ourselves. We see huge cost impacts. So therefore, you know, from a budgeting standpoint, and as someone who was our chair of our finance committee, we really have to sharpen our pencils when we're looking at where we're doing our spending.
So, Mayor Toms, I've got to ask you now, of course, you're heading into your first term as mayor tomorrow morning. Let's fast forward to 4 years from now. Might we see your name on that door for another term?
I would hope, as it stands now, yes. Unless something drastic changes with me, I think that our first 4 years, you know, it's going to be the first 2 years a learning experience and an adjustment as mayor, but I would hope so.
Well, we look forward to talking to you a whole lot more over the next 4 years and maybe for the years beyond. So congratulations on being acclaimed as the mayor of Bishop Falls, and happy 4 years.
Thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. Was Mayor, acclaimed Mayor Christa Toms of the town, and
It's
me.
like you're in two places.
Yeah,
How-
I'm everywhere. Yeah, it's who needs regular food or naps or.
You did change your shirt, so I guess.
Yeah, go home and do laundry, and I got a little phone booth. I just step in and step out.
Yeah.
Saves so much time. She is acclaimed, and she's, you know, councillor, deputy mayor, into mayor, as so many cases here that we're looking at tonight. Here in Gander, we are just still waiting on the special mail-in ballots. There's several hundred of them. Right now, the positions between position 6 and position 7 is down to about 40 votes between Jim Lidstone, who is now leading Fudge. And we are going to wait. Hopefully, we're going to get that now in a little while. But earlier this week, a couple of days ago, you and I took some time and we talked to no stranger to anybody in municipal politics. We went to the town of Dover and a guy who has just added a whole new dimension to the world of municipal politics.
Yeah, the mayor of the world.
The mayor of the world. You know, you've made it when, after 3 decades in municipal politics, you were literally named the mayor of the world. and good on you. Of course, we're talking about no stranger to anybody, Mayor Tony Keats of Dover, and we had a chance to talk to him just the other night. And here's what he had to say. Of course, provincial election time, if you want to get your head around municipal elections, you need to go no further than to the town of Dover. Mayor Tony Keats has been around municipal politics for as long as any of us can remember. Tony, welcome to the show, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Brian. A little bit about myself. Like you said, I've been around municipal politics for a while. I joined council here in Dover in 1993. As a councillor for the first 4 years, and for the last 28 years, I've been mayor. And sometimes just saying 28 years, I feel is really old. But then, Brian, I think about you, and I don't think old at all.
No, well, one of us may have taught the other one of us, so it's been a long time. Tony, I got to ask you, when do you remember back to when you made that first move to enter municipal politics? What sparked that desire to enter municipal politics?
Yeah, I think it's a little cliche, but I think, we all join council to do something for our community, make it a little bit better. I fell in love with municipal politics, and I love my community, and I tried doing what I can for the people. I work in public life too, so every day I meet the residents. Like I always said to everybody, I'm very approachable, and you can see me all the time, so I'm around town. And that's one of the biggest things that you find when you join council is that you should always make yourself presentable to the people and make sure that you're there for their needs and just to listen to them, because sometimes that's all they want is you to listen to what their complaints are and what needs to be done. So it worked out. Like I said, I enjoy it. I love it. If I never, I wouldn't be there. And over the years now, 32 years later, I'm still at it. So that's a testament of my true love for the community and for municipal politics.
So you mentioned a few times your love of municipal politics specifically. So what is it? Give us some specifics. What is it about municipal politics that you fell in love with?
It's not a party system, for one thing. There's no following the party line, and you live in the community. You are a resident of the community just like everybody else. Your services. I use all the services that Dover provides, and when we sit at the table, we look at those issues with two sets of glasses on, to be honest with you, because we look at it from our point of view and what we would want in our community, and we look, for what our residents would want. So municipal politics, it's something that I love dearly, and that's one of the big reasons is because you live here, you understand what's needed, and just be honest with the people, because honesty and letting them know what you can do and what you can't do is one of the biggest things.
And of course, we're back. We are getting results shaping up. Here in Gander right now, we're waiting on the special mail-in ballots, several hundred of those, which will basically firm up the final couple of council seats. Right now, 6 and 7 are very much up for grabs, with just a 40-vote spread between Jim Lidstone and Oz Fudge to see who gets the 6th council position. Of course, Mayor Percy Farwell has joined me here again. We've sent Hannah out to the lobby. She will be interviewing some of the ones that are breathing a little easier right now. As of right now, the unofficial in Gander gives Tara Pollitt, Samantha Abbott, Sheldon, Hancock, Pat Woodford, and Crystal West somewhat safe breathing room in terms of a council position. And we also have the results in, if you look at the side of your screen, that is somewhat official in Grand Falls, Windsor as well. Sean Feener, Thompson, Noel, Hollett, Dwyer, Gardner, I think, are the safe bets there. I may have gone 5 or 6, I'm not sure. Okay, so we are still waiting on some results there, but things will shape up in the next little while and so on. So Percy, basically now in the electoral process, where are we with things?
Well, I guess we're down to the wire in the here in Gander, you know, in terms of the final poll with a lot of votes in it, and yeah, you just listed out those that have, you know, with the positioning of people here right now, and you know, the top 5 seem relatively comfortable there now. They're breathing a little easier. Not so much for number 6 and 7, you know, where there's a difference of, I think, 40 votes between them, and, you know, over 600 to come, right? So, so that's, you know, one of those is here right now, and, you know, pretty nervous about it all, understandably. So yeah, I guess you know, until that one comes in, we won't know who the sixth council will be, but we do know that we have 3 new councillors. We will have 3 new councillors. We have 3 incumbents returning, and I certainly congratulate those. You know, Councillor Pollitt, Councillor Woodford, and Councillor Hancock were returned by the people. We have at least 2 new, Samantha Abbott and Christa West. I think are pretty safe where they are now. Anything could happen, I suppose, in the last poll, but I kind of think that those 5 are pretty secure. And of course, there will be a councillor to be named later, I guess is the only way to describe it.
Councillor in waiting, or whatever you want to call. And I guess for you, the work starts tomorrow morning or over the weekend. You know, getting your committees in place and. Well,
we've changed our structure in terms of committees and so on over the past year, where we don't actually have the individual committees anymore. We have a committee of the whole now that you know, where all of council convenes, as opposed to, you know, 6 different committees and different resource people and everything. Just so what we have now is a committee of the whole process, and so there's no, you know, individual committee chairs per se anymore, and everyone always was. I mean, sort of generalists. You know, nobody, because you were chairing a committee didn't mean you were in charge of that department or anything like that. We're not in charge of anything, to be honest. I mean, we pay people to run the community pursuant to the policies and regulations and so on that we bring in, right? So you know, we as elected officials, we make decisions on policy, on vision and priorities and these sorts of things, and we rely on management to carry out those, management staff to carry out those policies, and you know, to deliver the services to the community, right? And sometimes that's a bit difficult for new councillors to understand, but that's kind of the way it works.
So one of these people you'll be putting to work, and one of these people who are breathing easier, returning to council, Councillor Pat Woodford. He's out in the lobby right now with our own Hannah. Let's take it out to the lobby of the town hall.
So I am joined now by Pat Woodford. We're in the lobby of Town Hall. So exciting night for you. Congratulations. So you're going to enter your 3rd term as a councillor in Gander. So how are you feeling?
I feel relieved right now. A little exhausted, but very relieved that it's over, Hannah. It was a very well fought race. It took a lot out of me and my family. It was hard, but right now I just want to look at the people that ran. I mean, we had 10 wonderful candidates ran here in Gander for 6 positions. I'd like to commend each and every one of them for stepping up and trying to make their municipality, my municipality, your municipality, just to make this a little bit better. That's tremendous. For I guess all 6 are not declared at this point in time, but for the winners, congratulations. I just so much look forward to going back to work at the council table and working with these people. I think it's going to be an amazing group of people, whomever the 6th person may be. To the voters out there who had enough faith in me to re-elect me for the 3rd term, I just want to say thank you. I hope I don't disappoint you. And at this point in time, I can't wait to get back in the council chambers roll up our sleeves and get back to work, because I did hear you, I listened, and there's some concerns that came to light here in Gander that we really need to address, and hopefully by next week we'll start to be able to address these. So thank you folks for having the faith in me to move this forward. And thank you, Hannah and Rogers.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being with us here tonight as you celebrate that win. So Brian, over to you.
And that was Hannah with newly elected councillor Pat Woodford, and Pat returning to council now for, I think this is Pat's third term, if I'm not mistaken.
Third term.
Yeah, Pat's been on council now since 2017, so one of the new and returning faces that will be a part of this council. And of course, you know, so many things that will happen over the next little while. And a few people now whose, I'm sure, blood pressure is a little lower than it was a couple hours ago. One of those now is actually out in the lobby with Hannah, and that will be returning councillor Sheldon Hancock. Let's go to the lobby right now and see what Hannah has to say to Sheldon.
And we're back with another winner for tonight in Gander. So Sheldon, how are you feeling?
I'm tired. I'm tired, but
Yeah,
I'm
Pat's
feeling
tired too.
absolutely awesome. It's amazing. I mean, second term, you know, I'm not sure how things were going to pan out, and so it's been a few weeks, but you know, a lot of kilometers on my sneakers, and talked to a lot of people, and I'm so happy with how things came out, and you know, the support from the town again, the support from my wife Melanie, the support from all my friends. I had a whole clan that were helping me out, and you know, my kids Brittany and Marshall were so supportive through this, and my mom was all supportive, you know, getting hold of me all the time, how's things going and everything. So it's been quite a month.
Yeah, you've been busy. So I'm sure you're going to take a moment to pause and before diving into the next term here. But what are you looking forward to? What's on the list that you want to accomplish over the next 4 years?
We know we have some burning issues that we got to deal with here in town. You know, we had residents were talking to us about some of the things that are really bothering them, and you know, most residents know what they are. For me, a big part of what I wanted to do was in the digital government portfolio, and I have a lot of ideas that I think are going to really help the town to expedite projects, help people get permits faster, do things faster in town, and you know, on the long run, save us money hopefully. So I'm really itching to dive into that next piece. And you know, if Brad said we were going to have our first meeting tomorrow, I'd be all in.
So, you know, Pat mentioned that there was, you know, 10 candidates, all really great community involved people. What do you say to those tonight that maybe weren't successful?
You know, it's really hard to pick because we all have our own different qualities. And I look at everybody that was there. I mean, it was such a great roster. And unfortunately, you know, this is how things go. And, you know, some people don't quite make the numbers. But, you know, it was, you know, congratulations to the other candidates that did run. They did a great job. They put in a great campaign. And, but I'm pleased with how things came out, I must say.
Well, Sheldon Hancock, thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing that insight over the hard-fought campaign and the many hours put in. So good luck over the next 4 years.
And Hannah, thanks to you and Roger's team again for another excellent broadcast.
Thanks so much for being here. Okay, Brian, over to you.
And of course, Hannah with Councillor Sheldon Hancock. And of course, Percy, as the mayor of the town, of course, you are now, you know, we'd be remiss in noting that half of your council is not running in this one, and you know, public, I guess, thank yous. If
Absolutely, I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, you know, there's some excitement here tonight. New people, new blood on council, which is wonderful. Looking forward to it. But I'd like to shout out, you know, Councillor Wilson Hoff, Councillor Marcy White, and of course our former deputy mayor, Bettina Ford, all of whom have decided not to run. In the case of former deputy mayor, she's running on another ballot in a couple of weeks, but certainly wanted to express gratitude to the three of those. It's been a pleasure working with them. They've given a lot to their community over this past term, and more than that in some cases. And you know, it's a bittersweet night for them, I guess, because it's the end of their tenure as elected officials in Gander, and it's very much appreciated. So shout out to all three of those for stepping forward and for all the work they've done over the last number of years.
And it takes a lot. I mean, you are taking on another job, you are taking on another role in life, and certainly one that can be extremely demanding on occasions, as any counselor out there will tell you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's not all easy. It's not all pretty, but you know, we all love it. We all do it because we want to do it and because we want to give to our communities. And those of us that stick around are willing to take the good with the bad, you know, or take the bad with the good, because you know everybody that runs in this game across the province, really, they're doing it because they want to step up and help their communities, and I applaud all of them.
And of course, one of those people right now is out in the lobby with Hannah. Let's go now to Councillor Tara Pollitt, again re-elected tonight for another 4 years of council.
And we're back in the lobby, and I have with me Tara Pollitt. So congratulations. Big night for you, but not a role you're unfamiliar with.
No, I was elected deputy mayor in 2017. So I spent 4 years at that, and Bettina kept the chair warm, and I don't know, looks like it might be that way again. We're still waiting on the mail-in ballots, but we'll see.
So exciting night. How was, Pat and Sheldon both mentioned that they're feeling a little tired today. So how are you feeling at the end of this municipal election?
I am. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. A lot of walking, a lot of knocking, a lot of talking. So yeah, it's always a good experience to communicate with the residents and, chat with people on the street and people stopping you and asking you questions and just wanting to have a chat and get to know people. It's one of the best things about running a campaign is, you buy the flyers and you do all that stuff, but really getting out and talking to the residents is very important.
Yeah. So it looks like you're going to have a mixture of some people you've worked with closely in the past and some new faces that are maybe not new to you completely, but how are you feeling about as you, start the work tomorrow or over the next little while? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm thrilled to be alongside the mayor, of course, and Sheldon and Pat and the newbies coming in. I'm really looking forward to working with Crystal and Samantha, and we're still on the fence on who the sixth one is going to be, but either way, I'm happy to, show them the ropes and, teach them some things and, just be friends and get the work done, because it is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie, ladies. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've heard from a lot of different perspectives tonight across the province. So there's lots of big issues facing municipalities. So over the next few years, what's the one that really stands out to you as something you want to tackle?
Well, one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is recreational infrastructure and sport tourism. You're bringing new money into the community. That's very important. Of course, public safety is paramount as well. So those are some things that, we really need to work on and get moving forward. So I'm happy to dig in, get my elbows dirty, and let's go.
Sounds good. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Congratulations. Exciting day for you. And so Deputy Mayor Tara Pollitt, thanks for joining us tonight. And we'll go back over to Brian and Percy.
And of course, Tara Pollitt, I think right now as it stands, she is your top vote, what would you call it, vote fetcher, she got the most
Topping
votes.
the polls.
Yeah, she's topping the polls out right now. So, is deputy mayor in her future? Is, that will shake down in the process in no time at all. One of our newbies right now is out in the lobby with Hannah, and that is Samantha Abbott, first time on council, but a darn fine showing with over 1,000 votes. And let's go out to the lobby right now, and Hannah will be talking to Samantha Abbott.
So I'm now joined by Samantha Abbott. So congratulations. You won. So this is your first term. So how are you feeling?
I'm super excited. This is a whole new experience for me, and I'm so happy to have had so much support during this election, and it's a little bit obvious with the results. So I'm so thankful to everyone who supported me. I'm so excited to get into this.
Yeah. So your first time running, I'm sure is a bit nerve-wracking to, make that decision to enter the race, and you're of course not sure how it will all pan out. So how hard was that decision to even step into the ring?
It's so nerve-wracking to put yourself out there and not really sure how people are going to take to you. So it was a super tough decision. I'm so happy I did it, though. This is such a rewarding experience, and yeah, I'm glad I took that leap. But it was definitely difficult to put yourself out there. I mean, it's not something that everybody does, and I think we have to, appreciate the people who do that, whether they get in or not, because they're willing to put themselves out there.
Absolutely. So I know you're not a new face to the community. Certainly been involved in lots of different areas. But when you think about why you wanted to run and what you're kind of looking to accomplish over the next few years, what stands out? What are you excited to tackle?
Oh, shoot. There's so many things that I kind of want to dig into right away. I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, though, to figure out exactly, what's going to need attention the most. So I don't necessarily have one specific focus area, but I kind of want to just get in and tackle a little bit of everything and put my enthusiasm into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations. Exciting night for you. Thanks for joining us here in the lobby. We're going to pass it back over to Brian and Percy.
And of course, Samantha Abbott, newly elected to council, and a great showing right there from Samantha. Truly an interesting night. And of course, we're still here, as Percy will tell you. We are waiting for quite a number of special mail-in ballots that will settle up, I guess, the last two spots.
Yeah, well, the last spot, elected the spot, and that's, we got some pretty nervous people, nerve-wracking wherever they are watching from, and I just asked them all just to hang in there, and it shouldn't be too much longer, I guess. But I'm really excited about the group that we have there, and whoever number 6 is.
Yep, and we should know shortly. But for right now, we'll go to the number 5 on the list of people who we can say breathe a little easier and get your color back. Crystal West, newly elected to council. She is now out in the lobby with Hannah.
Okay, we're now joined by Crystal West. So congratulations, big day.
Thank you.
So another one of our new face winners. How are you feeling, Crystal?
I am beside myself. I'm very, very happy. It's been a very roller coaster of emotions, being very excited to being nervous to, and then being successful. And yeah, it's been a very fun month, but I feel great. Yeah.
You should, yeah. A busy month, I'm sure. So what was it that made municipal politics something that you wanted to tackle? We've heard a lot tonight about, there's some municipalities struggling to get people involved and some have lots, but what was it for you that was the draw?
Yeah. Well, for me, I like helping people, and I want to be a part of growth and making things a better place to live, and just be a part of going forward and being successful as a community. And our town needs some great leaders, and why not join in on the fun?
Absolutely. So there's, a few people that have run before, a few new faces. How are you feeling about working together as a group going into this next term?
No, it's always very exciting to see new people come on board, and I'm very happy to sit alongside these people that have been here as well already, and learn some things from them, and I think it's going to be a really good working team. Yeah, it would have been good either way, but it definitely is going to be a fun 4 years.
Well, congratulations, Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for getting out and voting. And I am really proud of our town. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. Over to you, Brian.
And of course, number 5 of people that we've decreed can breathe easily. Of course, that is Crystal West. And again, she ran into by-election just 2 years ago. An amazing showing, and now is officially on council. Just getting some results texted in, actually, in Logie Bay, Middle Cove, Outer Cove. Brad Power has defeated the incumbent Hickey, 429 for Power, 387 for Hickey. So Brad Power, no stranger to anybody in municipal politics. Brad is now newly elected, so congratulations to Brad
Brad's a
Power.
good friend and employee of Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, and has spent an awful lot of time in Gander, especially when
He certainly
when the
has.
convention and so on is here in town. We are still awaiting the final results, which will shake down the last council position. Okay, so let's now take a look at, we'll go to the East Coast with a little videotape thing we taped earlier this week. This is Melissa Hardy from the Avalon, again, an acclaimed counselor. Let's take a look at what she had to say tonight.
Okay, Melissa, tell us who you are and why we're chatting with you tonight.
Hi, Hannah. Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for having me this evening. My name is Melissa Hardy. I'm the Ward 4 councillor for the town of Conception Bay South. I just was acclaimed for my award again, so I'll be going to my second term for the residents of Conception Bay South as Ward 4. I'm 43 years old. I have been living in CBS my whole life. I have a husband, my husband Jamie. We have 2 girls. Livy is 11 and Emily is 7. And we have our dog Snoopy. So being a part of the town of CBS and the municipal politics, it is absolutely a family affair. We go to everything together. So I was very excited to be acclaimed and be a part of the next 4 years for the town of Conception Bay South.
So Melissa, looking back now 4 years ago, clearly you were in your 30s with a very, very young family and so on. What makes a person of that age decide to enter municipal politics?
Great question. So we're avid readers of The Shoreline, so love Craig's work. And it was one evening, my husband was reading The Shoreline and was getting ready for elections, people putting their name forwards. And we had a great conversation about it. He's like, Melissa, you love giving back. You're on the board for a bunch of different groups right now. You're on the school council. I think it's time we're able to do something in the community. We have 2 small kids, so I think it's time for us that we can go ahead and do something in the community so it'll help us for years to come with our kids. So quick conversation that evening, and 2 of us were on board and haven't looked back since. It's been a family event.
Okay, so fast forward 4 years, still very young, family still very young and so on. Why run again?
Just being able to give back. When I was getting ready to run again and I put my name forward, we spoke to everyone, obviously, Jamie, the 2 girls, just to make sure that they were okay with mommy doing this for another 4 years. And my oldest, Olivia, her biggest thing was, does that mean I get to go to the pancakes and the dances again and give out cake to the seniors and go to the seniors' home and do bingo? And Emily wants to be able to be a part of all the family days. So it's a big family event. So to me, it's just another thing that we do as a family, going out to help other families within the community.
Of course, a great interview there with Melissa Hardy, acclaimed counselor, just a tremendous individual. So much passion for
So inspiring.
So inspiring. We both said that the other night when we were.
Yeah, and you know what? Even tonight, in general, like just talking to the Gander councillors that have been elected, the excitement. It's so much hard work goes into these campaigns. They all talked about, how many doors they knocked on, how many people they talked to, and it comes from a place of passion. I think we saw that, with those interviews as well, right? That there's a lot of time and effort that goes into these roles.
And again, still waiting that last magic number, and if it was a small number, we could just sort of wrap it up, but we're still waiting for those special mail-in ballots, literally hundreds of ballots that could change the picture, especially in terms of the final council position. So we'll hang on as long as we can. Of course, Earlier this week, we sat down and talked to Mayor Tony Keats of Dover. We split the interview. We showed you the first part earlier. But while we're waiting, let's look at the final segment of our interview with Mayor Tony Keats of Dover. Which
Or
we
not.
assume we have, yeah. Okay,
worries.
we're just getting it ready. So yeah, just to recap right now, here in Gander, it's Tara Pollitt, again, just unofficial
got
from the
to hear
desk
from,
in
yeah.
scribbly handwriting. Tara Pollitt, Samantha Abbott, Sheldon, Hancock, Pat Woodford, and Crystal West. That seemed pretty comfortable. We were waiting on the special mail-in ballots, of which there could be as many as 650 of those. And that should determine what's now a 40-vote spread with Jim Lidstone leading Oz Fudge. So we're waiting for that. But while we're waiting, let's take a look at the second part of the interview we did with Mayor Tony Keats of Dover.
So when you think about this next term of mayor, what are the issues facing your community, and are they similar to other issues facing municipalities across the province?
Yeah, well, I believe we all have the same issues at a different scale. I joined council in 1993, and some of those issues still at our table today, and that's clean drinking water, wastewater, our infrastructure needs. And you got to understand, when infrastructure was put in years ago, a lot of communities got these big Cadillac systems that they just couldn't maintain or they couldn't upkeep because the cost wasn't there. When in the community, the resources when it came to getting the money to fix them and change them out or replace them. Those Cadillac systems we just can't do anymore, and that's why we always say to government, we're just looking for something that's going to solve the problems of today, not something that we're looking for that's going to cost us too much money. And we're looking at a regional scale, because why should we do something in Dover when Airbay is doing it, or Centerville is doing it, or Gamble's doing it, or Gander's doing it? If we can share some resources, that's even better, because why should we sink all this money into something when another town we can join into and help them out, and they can help us out?
I read on one of the bios of you online that you believe in good governance. So I think that's a good segue. What does that mean for you now, and has that evolved over your years as a municipal politician?
When I talk about governance, I talk about making sure that we understand and we learn, what's good governance in our own towns and in Newfoundland and Labrador and in Canada. And just listening and making sure that we're making the right choices, and because there's a lot of restraints on us, especially when it comes to finances and when it comes to like our tourism bumped up in the last few years, especially because I've come from away, because of the love story of Nick and Diane. But governance, we got to make sure that we listen and we take advice and we move forward, and don't be afraid to ask questions. There's all different levels of good governance when it comes to municipalities, but it's very important to follow the rules of procedure. It's always important to make sure you're doing right for your community.
And we're back again, still waiting on those numbers. But, Hannah, just looking at Tony Keats, and he is, of course, a mayor of a town of 600 plus people. When he looks at his issues, his concerns, his things he wants, his wish list going forward, there's so much the same as the Cornerbrooks and the Mount Pearls and the St. John's, that, the aging infrastructure, your fire department, safety, your
healthcare,
policing, your better connectivity and cell phones, your upbeat tourism numbers, they remain constants, and it's kind of like a universal thing that all councils try to do better on.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting to hear from Rob Nolan from Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, because he mentioned just how important it is for these municipalities to collaborate and to work together. So you don't work in isolation,
Nope.
even though you might be, you know, far away from another municipality. There's still issues that overlap, and there's still opportunities to collaborate and pull resources together to address some of this. So I think that's why it's nice that we look, you know, tonight we got to kind of look at it from more of a provincial lens. And not just Gander, not just, you know, Cornerbrook or a specific community, because of that overlap. You know, these are similar issues and similar roles that they're going to be taking on.
Which is true, you know, and for each one of them, no matter how big or how small, you are inevitably going to have to go to the powers in the Confederation building in St. John's to look for the funding, to look for the cost sharings, to get those big ticket items, because no municipality on its own is going to foot the deal for any major project, whether it be a new fire truck or a water and sewer project or whatever, you know. These things have tremendous costs, and again, we asked many of the mayors that we talked to, has it gotten more costly in recent years? And it was an overwhelming yes. Things are very expensive now. $1 million doesn't get you a whole lot anymore.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side of that, the needs of our residents and our, you know, are also escalated, right? Cost of living is so high. So, you know, it also emphasizes kind of the core issues. So it is more expensive, but it's also more dire and more
It is indeed, you know, and in some of our older communities especially, you know, the sewer lines that you put in 50 years ago, they need to be replaced. We're now into replacement values, you know. Overturn on firefighting equipment is, and as we've seen right now, you need to be able to put out a fire. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, for each of us, you don't know when.
Yeah.
You know, got close to the capital city last year. It got really bad on the northeast Avalon, you know, and even like places, there were 2 fires in Badger. There was fires literally everywhere right now. And as we've seen even in the news today, in parts of Nova Scotia, they're still having a rough time with fires.
Well, and I think that's one issue from a municipality perspective that came up with the fires in Newfoundland this year was it just emphasized the role that municipalities do play in crisis management, right? So in communication, in kind of getting resources, but really getting, the biggest thing was kind of communicating with residents on what was going on. So clearly an important role, for sure.
Okay, so we've got those numbers. Do we want to go to the tape piece and then? Okay, so while we're waiting for those numbers, they will be with you in a matter of just a few minutes.
The final Gander numbers we're waiting anxiously for.
That's true, yeah, I forgot, we are in
we're
Gander.
Just blabbering away here at this point.
Let's take a look at the final segment of the interview we did earlier this week with CBS Town Councillor Melissa Hardy.
When you look back at the last 4 years, what are those things that you stand out as accomplishments? What are you proud of that kind of made you want to keep doing the work?
Absolutely. So being able to represent Ward 4, I've been very proud to be able to bring forward some great initiatives. We had the completion of the Trailway Railway. So it's the project where it enhances our beautiful coastline in our community. So it went from Doyle's Road all the ways up to Seal Cove right now to the staging area. It's beautiful. So now all the residents can walk all the ways up on the coastline, looking at the beautiful scenery. The Seal Cove Bridge project, we were well underway, and then we had that unforeseen fires that were happening. So we had to make the hard decision to, not even a hard decision, we had to make the hard call to go ahead and postpone it to spring 2026. But I know the residents in Seal Cove are going to love that new Seal Cove Bridge replacement, and that'll be in early spring 2026. Being a part of all the initiatives we have International Women's Day, something all the female on council we brought in as soon as we were elected for International Women's Day, being a part of those events. Bringing forward proclamations. I really take pride in bringing forward those proclamations. One that really comes to mind is a World Down Syndrome Day proclamation. My niece has Down syndrome, so being able to bring forward that proclamation and have my niece in council chambers while I'm doing so, it gives me a proud moment. And they're also in my ward. I'm a strong advocate for the fire department. At the end of the day, we need to make sure our fire department have the tools they need to be able to act on any emergencies within the town. We were able to procure 2 new pumpers. We have a tactical response unit. We have some new communication technology that's really going to benefit the Ward 4 area. And we even have some new radio equipment that we've acquired that's going to enhance all of our communication for our first responders. So, like, I'm very proud to be part of the council we have, and also in the Ward 4, being able to bring forward 4 balanced budgets. That's not an easy undertaking. There's lots of moving parts. There was COVID, there's tariffs, but being able to work together to make sure that collectively we're able to maintain those services. We have to spend the taxpayers' dollars very wisely. Are we managing our debt carefully? Are we looking at investing in the right area? So, like, there's so many great things to be proud of. And our community lifestyle center, that's going to be happening in this next term. So that is so exciting. We were able to start it and now be able to bring it fruition in our next term.
And we are back, and the long-awaited numbers are in. It's been a lengthy night, but
An exciting lengthy night.
An exciting lengthy night, but these things kind of go hand in hand with elections, and you know, that's the way they go. For the final council seat, we are now declaring that Jim Lidstone has defeated Ons Fudge 996 to 894. So it's about a 100-vote spread. So we congratulate newly elected Councillor Jim Lidstone and welcome him. And of course, I guess we can now officially give him his moment with you. I'm going to unplug here, and we're going to welcome Jim to
Yeah,
the
so
seat.
we got the chance to talk to the other councillors who were elected tonight in Gander. So it would only be fair that we said hello to Jim,
Hello.
who's just getting settled here. So Jim, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure a long night.
Very long.
Very long. So we heard from some of the others that they were tired. How are you feeling tonight?
I think I'm a little extra tired. It's a little extra stress there, and just watching the votes come in, and then watching and them not coming in.
Right.
And I don't know. It's a very different feeling. Not something I've experienced before,
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
it's great that it's over. And I just want to say congratulations to everybody that put their name forward. It's such an experience, and it's. I think everybody does it for love of their community and wanting to serve their community, and I just congratulate everybody, who ran,
Absolutely.
and obviously congratulations to all the winners and the people that I'm really looking forward to working with these people.
What was it? So this is your first time running
Yes.
for a political office. So what was it that made you say, like, this is the time, I'm ready?
Well, I've thought about it for years. The past number of years, I've been really sort of dedicated to my career with a few changes that have happened personally in my career. But years ago, I was a little bit more active in the community. I was on my, school councils for different schools that my daughter was involved with, and I had done a little pushing, basically probably pushing on the school councils for things I thought should be done. And someone said, well, maybe you should be on the school council. So I did. And, I was involved with a number of different projects with the different school councils. And as well, over time, I had pushed on the town council for different issues that I was seeing around town. And
Right.
someone said, maybe you should run for town council. But I really didn't want to do that until I could really dedicate the time to it. And now I'm at a point in my life that next year I'm planning on retiring. So this being a 4-year stint, I figured this was the time to put my name forward. And I really wanted to be able to dedicate it the proper time and to work hard for the people of Gander.
Mm-hmm. So a few others mentioned tonight that there's a lot of issues. When you talk to voters, and I'm sure you've experienced over these last few weeks, there's a lot of there are a lot of things people are concerned about. So when you think about this next 4 years, what are some of those ones you're ready to tackle, or that kind of inspired you to get involved?
Well, I think, in the forum that we attended and different things, talking to different people at different community functions, there's a common theme, like, safety and security and recreational infrastructure. How do we attract people to move here, businesses to come here, and healthcare professionals? So all those are obviously very important. And actually, from watching from the outside over the different elections, they're not uncommon themes from previous elections as well.
Right.
So I think those are things that are very important. So I think what's important is for the town council to work collaboratively and to listen to the people and to make those important decisions and hard decisions. You can't do everything. And at the same time, I think it's important to be fiscally responsible and to follow the path that council's been on for the past 4 years in looking at, make sure they're fiscally responsible and keeping the debt down and, allocating funds where it's very important.
Yeah. Well, Jim, thank you for joining us tonight. I know it's been a long night, so appreciate you sticking around. Huge congratulations, and we look forward to what you and the other councillors and the mayor will accomplish over this next 4 years. Let's take a look now. It's been an inspiring night from a lot of different angles, but we're going to flip over to something that the town of Gander pulled together to think about if you know what the younger generation thinks of it all. Let's take a look at this clip.
I will build a Hello Kitty shop. If I had all the money in the world, I will build the water park. Build my own house inside, like a safe one. I want to build a rainbow playground. A castle.
A castle?
I build a giant sea castle. Maybe meow.
Blippi's treehouse?
Yeah.
If I had all the money in the world, I will build a big Olympic stadium for everybody to participate in.
Everybody has to be nice. No mean people allowed. Thank you.
Anybody too cotton. You can't have a pony in your backyard if it's too small.
The one rule I would make is to give people in need food and shelter.
I would make, this is kind of easy. I would make everyone have fun. October 2nd, get out and vote. Get out and vote.
Well, it's hard not to smile at that and
Oh,
have
yeah.
a little bit of hope for the future.
And years from now, they just may be on that ballot.
Yeah, and hopefully just as excited to tackle some
But
exciting
for tonight,
issues.
they have school tomorrow, and they're probably in bed and not watching themselves. It's been an exciting night. Just to recap, just on the Gander front, because we did wait probably longer for those than anyone else. Elected, I guess officially now, Tara Pollitt, Samantha Abbott, Sheldon, Hancock, Pat Woodford, Crystal West, and then by the final mail-in ballot, Jim Lidstone forming out the Council of Six with acclaimed Mayor Farwell.
And we were lucky we got to hear from all of them tonight, so hopefully that brought these boring numbers alive to kind of bring the faces and get a nice reaction from them of how they're feeling.
Of course, starting in the morning now, we regroup for the next round, because 12 days from now, we have a provincial election. Don't forget, go through your candidate list, make your choices. That's happening just 12 days from now on the 14th. But before we get to that, on Monday night, right here in Gander, please come to Evangel Pentecostal Church. The Candidates Forum will be taking place then. There will be a chance for you to ask your questions. It may shape your vote. You'll get a chance to see how the candidates speak on the issues. That's at 7 o'clock this Monday, the 6th, at Evangel Pentecostal Church. And we look forward to seeing you there.
And there's still obviously other elections. St. John's still has to vote, and other municipalities, are also going to be hosting, or districts hosting, some forums. So keep an eye out for that on Rogers TV on your local network. We appreciate so much you joining in. If you stuck around all this time, well,
And the
that's something.
results will continue
They
rolling on the
will.
screen,
Yes.
so you can, if there's
So-
any you missed or whatever, they'll be there for you to see.
That's right. They'll continue on. We will be signing off. I have a
Okay, it looks like everything's in, so just you can check your numbers and whatever else.
Yeah.
But that does it for us. So until next time, which is actually on Monday, and then again on the 12th, and
you ever
whenever
wanna
else we
watch
have
us
an
ever
election. Whenever else we do this, I'm Brian Mosier.
And I'm Hannah DeYoung. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Good night.
Don't tell me about the party.
Don't tell me who'll be there.
Don't even get me started.
Don't tell me when or where.
Don't go and tell me what I'm missing. You know I don't take much convincing. Starting with one, turn to two, three, sheets to the wind. Said I'm not going now, then we painted it red. Yeah, that same old bar with the same old friends. Guess I lied when I woke up and said I'm never drinking again, again, yeah. I said I'm never drinking again, again, yeah. I said I'm never drinking again.
I'm never drinking again.
I'm never drinking again.
I'm never drinking again, but like, what are we doing tonight?
Starting with one, turn to two, three, sheets to the wind. Said I'm not going now, then we painted it red. Yeah, that same old bar with the same old friends. Guess I lied when I woke up and said I'm never drinking again, again, yeah. I said I'm never drinking again, again, yeah. I said I'm never drinking again. Guess I lied when I woke up and said I'm never drinking again.
Control bill brakes so that they can make a Chevy slow down. And I just ride midnight, sorry, my turn goodbye round. Bloody Marys and aspirin don't give a hang, oh, one hell of a fight. But my remedy for handling the hands of time is singing Hollywood nights. Even the losers get lucky sometimes. A paradise by the dashboard light, now I'm just fine. I'm doing alright. We ain't as young as we used to be. We're young and high. It's so easy when you listen loud guitars and words that rhyme. And on the hands of time. My go-to game day jersey's always Carolina blue. When I need to find forgiveness, I find a little small town church or two, yeah. After work, I like to put my elbows up on a bar. And girl, I turn to the speakers when